Pros and cons, pros and cons. The world blames dad, but it's really your mom. We're late again. We black, we black. Yeah. Good morning, everybody. And I say good morning because my sleep schedule has been insane. And I probably got up for the day probably an hour ago. I'm on like China time right now.
What's up, man? All these people in the chat. What up, everybody?
I'm basically a Chinaman.
Charles Albo,
I found this old iPad that I had. It's probably like 6 years old. I've been trying to get it to work right now, so I can be in the chat too. But I don't know if it's gonna work, man. How you guys feeling? What's the word?
What's the word? Yeah, we are black. Black step in. Blacker than black. I'm the reverse Oreo cookie. I'm white on the outside, black on the inside.
I got good news. My friend Big Bump, he hit me up, texted me, and said that, you know the song No Manly Cause? That remix I made for Jesse Lee Peterson was featured on InfoWars. Alex Jones. I posted the link in my Instagram, so you can swipe up on the story, on one of my stories, and it'll take you to it. They don't mention anything about me, of course, but they used the video and song as an example for their article. So I'm like, wow, maybe I'll get a couple of clicks out of it. I don't know. But share with your friends, you know, send people a link. It looks cool. It's like, oh, snap. Or two people on the left are like, oh my god, tinfoil hat people.
Yeah, I mean,
either way,
any press is good press.
Exactly.
So it was pretty cool to see that Alex Jones' team has got Trevor's music up there.
Yeah, I'm thinking I should email them. Be like, I am the creator of this and I want my money. No, I'm kidding. But I could email them and tell them I've made other remixes and stuff like that. And if they need music for anything, holler at your boy. You know what I'm saying?
I think it'd be pretty cool to see you go on Alex Jones' show.
That'd be sweet.
Trippy.
Can you imagine I end up on Alex Jones before I ever go talk with Jesse Lee Peterson? After years.
Alex gives you the platform.
And then Jesse would be like, hey, you want to come on the show? I'd be like, look, man, I work for Alex Jones.
I work for InfoWars now. I'm moving up.
Look, man. Alex Jones is paying me, man.
Black Stepdad says he has plenty, his job has plenty of work. Well, if you need work, then go hit up Black Stepdad, because apparently they've got all the work you need.
No, meaning they got plenty of workers and they don't need you. No, I don't know. Black Stepdad, I appreciate the, I just found in my Instagram, I have a whole bunch of messages that I haven't seen. And I clicked on it, I think yesterday, and I replied to as many as I could, but Black Stepdad was one of them. I think you sent me something. It was his picture or a story or something. But I don't know why I'm looking at you like you don't know crap.
I know who he is.
But I ended up following Black Stepdad. I recognize the name.
Yeah. Umar. I say it like that because it sounds a little more Muslim. Umar.
Well, he's called in, right?
Yeah. He was the one who was doing it wrong. Oh, he said, yeah, it was about that cereal store that you had gone to. Nice.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
So,
I love that cereal store.
Which
But
one?
I've never bought any cereal.
The vape shop with the cereal? Yeah. So, if you have any questions or comments, throw them down in the chat. I found a couple interesting news articles. So I want to hear what Trevor and you guys gotta say about it. So, there's one interesting one. Alpha or Beta, the former Texas Lieutenant Governor David Dewhurst.
Dewhurst?
Dewhurst.
Imagine they're
Dewhurst me.
Yeah, that too. But the parents, like, it's like, you remember that Billy Deeper? Remember that story?
Which one was that?
Do you remember Billy Deeper where he walked in and the kid was like, the son was doing you know,
Oh.
doing the thing.
Oh.
And they walk in there like, oh, Billy, deeper. And he's like, I'm doing it as fast as I can, as deep as I can. It'd be the same thing with the
Dewhurst.
They'd be like, Sam, Dewhurst. And they're like, he's like, I'm Dewhurst.
I'm
doing her.
So this former lieutenant governor of Texas, his girlfriend, he's 74, by the way, 74 years old.
This many.
Yeah, he's dating a 40-year-old woman, and she was arrested for breaking his ribs after she kicked, scratched, and bit him during 2 different vicious fights at their house. So she beat the hell out of the 74-year-old man. Broke his ribs.
And this is her significant other?
This is his girlfriend.
Oh, well.
He's dating down, 34 years younger.
He must have money.
Yeah, I mean, former governor, I'd say he's probably doing pretty well.
Well, maybe I wasn't listening to what you said. I didn't realize it was the governor.
Yeah, former governor.
Former governor.
Lieutenant, so he's not like the full governor. It's like a baby. Governor
Wait,
Junior.
so he's a lieutenant and he got his ass kicked by his girlfriend?
Not military lieutenant, but position-wise, job-wise.
Right. I know, I'm just poking fun.
But yeah, he got his ass beat.
I like how I said lieutenant, and you're like, not military. Considering that getting your ass beat probably means military, right? Damn, you know what? I didn't even bring my little keyboard to switch the sounds.
Omar used to date older women. Yeah, older women were easy to date. They were just easy to pick up at the bar.
Were?
I mean, I don't do it anymore.
Oh, because you're the old guy.
No, I look younger, so I'm gonna keep it that. I'll keep it at that. But yeah, the cougars were always easier to take down.
I remember in my 20s, I definitely like felt some sort of like ego stroke when I could get
A cougar.
a cougar. The hot
It was a
ones.
status thing. If you get a hot cougar, all your friends are like, man, high five. Everyone's high fiving you. You're the man.
I had a couple in my time.
Yeah.
Some little cougars.
Elder abuse. That's right, Victoria. So, I mean, if I was that guy, I would have slapped the hell out of her. You're not going to kick me while I'm down.
I didn't do it right though because I didn't get any money out of it.
Yeah, you should have
It's
got
not what
paid.
you're supposed to do. You're supposed to get paid. You're supposed to get some kind of like a car or something.
Yeah, what up, Big Bump? Steven.
Big bump.
Oh, he's heading to bed. Good night, Steven. Get some rest, my friend.
Damn, it's early, bro. I just woke up. You're going to bed? Where do you live?
Is it episode 22? I think it's episode 21. Yesterday was
Is that
20.
22?
Put 21. But he's... JLG
Oh,
says
it's 21. Yeah.
He says 22. I think it's 21.
The stream crashed, so I had to.
Yeah, there's a 20 extended.
Which hopefully this doesn't happen this time.
Black Toria. Yeah, it should be 21. But yeah, so that was interesting. So what would you let a woman beat the shit out of you and break your ribs? Beat the stuffing out of you and break your ribs?
Jeez, watch your mouth. Would I let her?
Yeah.
You think he let her?
I think he didn't put up a fight.
Well, he's 70-something.
Doesn't mean. I mean, Jesse's 70 and Jesse's got muscles.
That's true. I guess it depends, but I mean, typically no. I don't like to like hypothetical stuff where I'm going to be like, this is what I would do, because in the situation, depending on what it is,
But would you ever let it? Is there a situation that calls for you letting a woman kick you
I
on the
wouldn't
floor?
let her. No, but I wouldn't necessarily beat the crap out of her. Or
Yeah,
anything like that.
and you don't have to beat stuffing out of
I
her.
definitely handle it.
Exactly. You gotta neutralize the threat. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, don't try and kick me and break my ribs.
I remember my dad told me a story because he was getting in a fight with my mom about something like that, and my mom ended up like making a fist like this, and she just ran towards him like this, and my dad didn't move because he was like, "What, are you gonna hit me?" And he just ran like this and gave him a black eye.
What?
She didn't like swing or anything. She ran at him like a train. And the way my dad told the story, I was like, "What?" I was like, "Why didn't you?"
He didn't think she was gonna hit him?
Yeah.
She
And
just
he
ran
straight into
like
him.
a battering ram?
Gave him like a I don't know, it's not a black eye, but like a red.
Yeah.
The way he told the story, I was like, what the heck?
Oh man, I'd probably be in shock too because it's not an attack you're used to seeing, so you don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
You're like, what's happening?
To try it with the homeless people outside.
Just put your hand up and then charge. It's like those knights who used to lance. They pull a little stick up and they go with the horse. She was like lancing. Yeah, that's crazy.
Sounds nuts.
Your mom sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Looked Black Victoria says she is a puma, a young cougar. Yeah, a puma probably in her 30s. That's
yeah,
a puma.
and a cougar technically is kind of like a MILF, you know, like
Yeah, you're
kinda
supposed to
gotta-
have kids.
Yeah, you're supposed to like, you know.
Or you're like significantly older that, you know, if you don't have kids, you just look old like you could have had kids.
This is a weird story. I don't even know why I'm telling it, but it's kind of weird. But I remember I used to date this girl that was older than me. I was in my 20s and she was in her like late 30s. And she flew me out to Miami. I guess I did get something out of it. And then I stayed with her, right? And I wake up in the morning or something, and she's got like a 16-year-old daughter that's like up like, Mom, and I was like, who's that? Oh, that's my daughter. I was like, what? And I was like 22. So I was like, it's just weird, because I was closer to the age of her daughter
Than her. I picked up a cougar at a college baseball game.
What was his name?
And yeah, she was pretty hot. And it was kind of weird, the same thing too, because she had grown kids who were like in high school. And so when I was like, this is weird. You know, it'd be easier if it was just you talking to her. But then, like, you know, like you gotta, hey, hi, like you gotta introduce yourself. It was awkward.
Funny times, man.
Yeah.
Funny times.
But the entire fraternity was like, you're the man. Good morning, T Warrior.
I really wanted to get this chat thing to work so I can read the chat, because I feel left out over here all the time.
Omar met his cougar at his job. That's easy pickings right there. They're just walking into your field.
That's what happened with me.
Yeah.
Because I would network and meet people in the music industry. This person happened to be a lawyer. Pretty big lawyer, too. If I don't say so myself. But not bad. They didn't really make anything happen, though. They're supposed to help me in my damn career.
Yeah. I should have gotten money out of that. The cougars were nice, but that chapter's closed now.
I'd have done it different this time.
Yeah. I mean, there's still some good-looking older women out there. Don't get me wrong. You know, beauty is beauty. But I know now that that's the wrong order. Did she give you the long arm of the law, Trevor?
Who, my mom, when she ran like this?
That's what the mom calls the move, the long arm of the law. Let's see what else. So, an interesting article in the UK. You heard of all these different exit movements like Blexit and Brexit.
I sure have.
So Brexit was the movement for Britain, the United Kingdom, leaving the European Union, and they finally did it with their version of Donald Trump, Boris Johnson. And now the liberal media in the UK is saying that the COVID-19 crisis exposed just how much the UK actually needs all these foreign immigrants to keep coming in. That they're more of a blessing than these conservatives thought. So they're trying to rewrite everything and say, oh, see, without them, we would have probably never managed this crisis. It's amazing.
Weird, man.
Imagine watching the sunset with your loved ones while listening to Trevor's song. Charles Albo.
Thanks, Charles.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys who listen to my music. You actually
Imagine
help me keep me alive.
hanging out with your cougar, listening to Trevor's music while her 16-year-old children call for her from the kitchen. Yeah, goosebumps.
I can't find. I hate this. I changed my password, and I forget what it is. I don't know what my email password is.
Some interesting news. Home loan rates. Oh, since the Federal Reserve is dropping rates in general down damn near zero, there's talk of taking interest rates into negative territory, which I can't think. I wasn't sure what that meant, so I looked it up. And Japan and some other places in Europe are doing that. And what it would do is it would make the people who are saving money pay interest to the banks for holding their money, and people who borrow money and take loans out would actually get paid interest as an incentive. So the incentive is to take out loans from
This
the
is old
banks
news,
because
though.
they'll pay you. Not this. This is fairly new. We haven't got there yet. So Trump is trying to push for negative rates. Right now we're not there yet. We're just above zero. So that would be interesting. And so, they say it should stimulate the economy. I mean, I'd sure take advantage of it. If they're going to pay me to take a loan out, I'll go buy some land. So buy some land. Another good tip I saw, you should be looking at the tax records for whatever counties or places you're looking at. And you can get the tax information for the land, the different parcels, find out what names attached to it, and you can see if their registered address is the same address as that parcel of land. If it is, well then they're probably a landowner who's not absentee. But if you find a parcel of land where the owner's address is in New York, but that piece of land is in Florida, well then they may not. They're what they call an absentee landowner. They may not be interested in that land. Maybe they just inherited it. So there's a good chance, better chance, that that kind of owner would sell you their property. So it's a good way to look at tax information, find out those absentee landowners. And then the nice touch would be to reach out to them with a written letter, because most people will open written letters versus something typed up. So if you handwrite it with their name on it, they might open it up and start off with a nice conversation of, saw your land, I'd like to build on it, and who knows. Just one tip I got from a guy who's been doing it that way. And he's managed to get quite a few acres.
I guess I'll need to get a secretary who can write my letters for me.
Yep.
Because I don't think they will read a child's handwriting.
Yep. Pay the bank to hold your money. That's right, Matt.
Shout out to Matt, by the way. He sent us a video. He checked out our RV for us.
Yeah, thank you, Matt.
And it's in Indiana. Looks pretty nice. Has a couple little leak issues at the top. That's the only thing I think about. Because, I don't know crap. But I can't imagine it being that hard to fix. Just cock it. That's what she said. Right? But he went and checked it out for us. Made a little video and sent it to us. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah. Can't thank you enough for looking at it. I had a good feeling about these owners. They just look like responsible people. They're nice. They're white. But they just look like nice people. The condition of it, for being an older motorhome, you can tell that it would have to have, someone had to have taken care of it because it looked original. So when Matt laid eyes on it, it was exactly what we thought. They were well taken care of. Very, very little work to be done, if anything. And everything started right up. All the systems worked.
So we might end up doing that.
Yeah, I'm sold. I'm ready to give them half of the money because I like the vibes. Matt liked them. He felt like they were good folks. They were straight up honest, and they had all the information, had all the booklets, all the paperwork. That's a good owner.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been like that.
Yeah,
I wasn't like that with my car, and I need to definitely be better organized.
Yeah, so those are good signs. And then on the front plate of the motorhome, they had the "Don't Tread on Me," the famous patriotic snake representing 13 colonies. Don't tread on me. So I thought that was great. They're patriots. They're responsible. They're probably they're Christians. So I feel good about the purchase.
Yeah, I'm down.
So we might be flying out to Indiana to go hang out with Mateo.
Now we got to check out prices on those tickets.
Well, I should have them for free because I got flyer miles.
Do you?
Yep.
Wow.
So we can get free tickets. They're just sitting there. The points I'm not using. So and right now it should be cheap. So we just fly out for free.
That'd be sweet. Imagine that. We'll go fly out to Indiana, bring a little light carry-on, and then
Maybe
drive that thing back. Pack up all my crap. Let my landlord know, hey,
I'm out of here.
I gotta get out of here, man.
Get out of here.
I don't blame the people upstairs. They'll be like, they're just too loud. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No. And then, yeah. But I think it would be stupid to travel and do all those things without figuring out a way to perform and do some kind of tour thing. Even though with this COVID-19, it seems like who's gonna do that? Who's gonna go out to live music? Who's gonna see?
Yeah. Well, I trust that God will make a way. You call places, you schedule, you book things, or you set up your own performances in places. And you build a grassroots thing, or you start just playing somewhere. You never know what can happen.
Yeah.
Once the word gets out.
But even having to not pay $1,400 a month would help me
immensely
save.
Yeah. All that money goes back in your pocket. No more landlord.
My landlord's cool though. He's no problem. It's just one good thing. One thing I think about is because I really do like this place, and it was a gem to find it. Is if something went wrong with the RV, and then I was homeless, and then I had to find a new place, and I'm like, damn it, I had a cool spot. Because LA, $1,400 a month flat fee with all utilities included and stuff is actually a good deal. And but I have positive.
Yeah, and it's got a good layout. It's a good spot where it could rip out this dinette set and throw his studio in there.
That's the only thing I care about, man. Place where I can put my clothes, so if I perform or I go somewhere, I look decent, and then have place to work.
Yeah, and the dinette set will be as long as this, so it can fit the piano, a good chair, speakers. I think it'd be sick. And I don't need any space. I got a laptop and that's it. You know, I just need a couch somewhere to lay my head.
Yeah, same.
T-War has a question for you, Trevor. Mike Tyson is making a comeback if you haven't heard.
I heard about that.
If you got offered $10 million,
I would.
To go 5 rounds, 5 full rounds, would you go 5 rounds with Mike Tyson? I don't know if you've seen the footage of this. This dude still has it.
I mean, if I was able to be alive after those 5 rounds, I mean,
Yeah.
$10 million, man, come on.
I don't think I'd make it 5 rounds. I think he'd knock me out in the first round, but I'd go for it for $10
I would
million.
just duck and dodge as best as I could, you know. I wouldn't try to fight him. I'd try to just get away.
I try to do a Mayweather, just run around the ring,
Yeah.
and then just hold on for dear life, and when that punch comes, just go to sleep.
I just bite his ear off.
Yeah, he's training too, Holyfield. I don't know if they're gonna fight each other, but I saw clips of them both
Oh,
training.
Holyfield is training.
Both Tyson and Holyfield.
What are they going to try and do that
Rematch?
70 years later comeback?
Possibly, but Tyson's fast. I saw the video of him. He looks insane.
Yeah, I like Mike Tyson. I've always liked him. Did you ever see that documentary? He seems like a sweet guy, you know, but not sweet the kind of sweet that's like beta, but more so like, you know, a good guy. No man is good, but Mike Tyson, he told this one story. It was so funny. He's like, I took her into the bathroom and she performed fellatio on me. Fellatio.
Fellatio.
And I was like, wow.
He's a good example of what happens, you know, with anger. Because you look at his childhood, he didn't have strong role models. I don't even know if his dad was in his life, but I know that he found Gus D'Amato, his boxing coach, when he was a kid. Like, he started boxing, he was like, I don't know, 12, 13. He was young, but he also was pretty big for a little kid. So that became his life. He channeled all his anger and all his rage into boxing. And I think that's a negative example, because obviously his career ended poorly. And shame, you know, biting someone's ear off, losing his money. Don King just, you know, mismanaged his money, and just they took advantage of this guy because he was blind. He let all these people do the work for him, and he never grew. They just kept him like a child.
Your mom's so hairy, she looks like Don King in a headlock.
Yeah, your mom's armpit.
No, your mom.
Just your whole mom.
Just your mom.
Your whole mom. 2-piece white or dark. I'd be down to go to an episode, but I had to be asked. Yeah, we wouldn't mind having you on here, Danny boy.
Which Danny is that?
Danny who got married. He has another baby on the way. No, he already had the baby.
That's the one we went to the
No,
wedding.
they got another baby. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So they have one, his son, and I think he knocked her up again.
Nice.
All right, like a real man. He's filling her up.
Well, Danny, you gotta be a thug character in a skit first.
Yeah, you're the perfect thug character who just like grunts like,
If you've ever seen the movie Eraser, remember where he goes and sees it is Tony Tutos. That whole scene. Danny could be in that room with the cigarette smoke, leather jacket, and say, nobody screws with the union. And throw the cigarette. That could be you.
Thank you, Black Toria. She says she supports the bros. This is the time to make moves.
Thanks, Black Torrid. Was she super chat or something?
No, she just said it. She's just chatting.
Oh, she's worthless.
But yeah, I think was it Raymond? No. Johnny McWan says 10 million to get knocked out makes you look like a prostitute. It kind of is. You are selling your body for money, a lot of money. But hey, getting $4,000 of unemployment kind of makes you a prostitute.
But being, you know, that's a different kind of way of selling your body because you're not being violated, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, you're not getting penetrated.
There's a little something different there.
You know, you're not going to enter the dragon with that. The dragon's not going to enter you.
Are you into dragons?
That's true, but no one abuses my body for money, says Johnny. That's right. Well,
Not for money.
not for money, just for
You
free.
just get nothing out of it.
Danny Gaucho Trejo. That's right. He's going to be that kind of character. Just a mean-looking dude. He has that look. You throw a leather jacket on Danny and some black slacks.
Gouge Atreyu?
Throw a little 45 under his arm. Like, he looks like an Italian mobster enforcer. You know? Just a man of few words.
I've always wanted to date an Italian girl who was like really homespun.
I forget how many babies you have, Danny.
Homespun and able to cook that good Italian food.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
like Matt's wife. Go to check out Matt's YouTube. He's very industrious. He's got a farm. His land produces. He makes maple syrup and jams. And his wife can cook like no one else's business. She was cooking on a wok today, making some Chinese or Japanese food.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that Southern Japanese food?
That's right.
Wow. Wow.
Victoria's thinking of relocating Midwest. I think, anywhere where there's conservative, good Christian folks, where they're the majority, I think you'd be happier.
And Victoria will be like the novelty around town.
Yeah, you'll be a fetish, but they'll love you. And they'll
And
treat
they'll
you
be
right.
like, wow, you're conservative? She black?
Yeah, go, wow, she's just the coolest black girl I ever met.
Wow, that's cool. I had it all wrong. I thought that it was like what I seen on TV.
You're not a jogger at all. But yeah, you like the Midwest, Victoria. Just gotta figure out what your climate zone is. Like, do you like southern, humid, hot deserts? Do you like mountainous,
she
cold
likes hot.
snow?
She likes hot.
Flatlands.
Would you do
Also,
that
a
thing?
husband. Yeah, that's what I think too. If you're gonna find a quality wife or a husband, it probably would be not in a major city, because all the girls out here, no matter, even if they know Jesse, they can be pretty nuts because the damage is done, and they usually find Jesse once the damage is done. So their destiny is to be the single cat lady. Not all, but most.
Well, that sounds optimistic.
For the city girls. Where's the invite? Hey, Omar, you can come work on the motorhome, and then we'll let you stay on. You can be our
Who's
Mexican.
we? We're gonna charge you $800 a night.
You can be our Mexican.
I'm kidding.
When we go to Texas, we'll eat some real Tex-Mex. Heck yeah, bro! I only went to Dallas, and then I went to Fort Worth, and it was some of the best barbecue. It was the best barbecue I ever had.
Texas?
Yeah, amazing.
See, if I'm gonna pick my favorite barbecue, I'm gonna pick the southern like Memphis barbecue over Texas, because I don't like the Texas baked beans. There's something about the mac and cheese, collard greens, the beans out there. I don't know, man. Even though I've never technically, I went to Nashville, but there's something about that style of barbecue. The Texas barbecue, the ribs and stuff, the brisket, that's good, but overall, I like the black barbecue.
Yeah. Matt said he sent you, Trevor, a 1-bed, 1-bath house listing. You can get a 1-bed, 1-bath house, all utilities included, for $650 a month. That's nuts.
That's amazing.
He could pay for 2 houses with what he pays for this place.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Something to think about, I guess. Even if it's for a short period of time, I can stack some cash. Get on this stimulus unemployment. Make a few grand a month, and then just stack and just create.
The Midwest is hot and dry. I like hot and dry though. I mean, we have a cabin in Joshua Tree, and I can do the desert, and the mountains.
Who's we?
My family.
You have another cabin? You got 2 properties?
It's a family cabin. I don't own it per se. I think it might be in my uncle's name, but it's supposed to be a family cabin. We used to go there as kids. Small. It's just like a 20 by 20 cinder block cabin. No rooms, just one big open thing. A couple couch beds, propane stove, propane fridge, on 1 acre of land. But right next to the Joshua Tree Monument.
Feel free to call in, because we're doing this stream because we want a place, a little hub where we can hang out, and talk about whatever we want to talk about. And so call 818-308-5559.
Yeah, Victoria, you gotta find a farmer, but you can also do it yourself. But that's what I want. I'm looking at. I'd like to get 20 acres minimum. I want a good chunk of it. 20 acres is not a lot of land. I mean,
you could do a lot with 20 acres. That's a lot of land, I think.
I mean, yeah, but I would like
Coming
it
from a guy with no land.
Yeah, but I'd like it to be secluded. Some of the ones I find there's not a single tree on it. It's just flat, ugly land.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I'm not gonna drop 20,
A plane.
100 grand on a plane. Yeah, I want something with trees in it, somewhere that's kind of off the road. The whole point is that it's kind of away from the city, so I want it defensible. I'm thinking defense, that it's not easy to get into, or that I could fortify it.
If I could pick my dream land, it would be definitely a mixture. It would be like there's a forest over here, There's a little river. You know, you get a little piece of the river, and then you can have like a little open area. That'd be nice.
Is Hake in the chat? Welcome. What up,
Is
Hake?
it really? Oh, it's the Hake report, not the snake report. La la la. Asian version. Oh, it's the Hake report. It's the same. Hake report. Rah rah rah.
What's up, Hake? How you doing, buddy? Thank you for shouting. By the way, thank you for shouting us out on your show.
Yeah, we saw your little shout out.
That was
Appreciate
cool, man.
it.
I know you forgot my name. I saw that, but it's okay.
That's what we do. We forget Richard's name.
Yeah, it's okay.
Like, did you shout me out?
I did talk to a bunch of people, 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 I did.
Yeah. I got a couple little clips on here.
With me in case, with our family in case, with our community in case.
Oh, hey, something you could know. You'd be proud. Because it's relevant to you guys. You know that the No Manly Cars remix that I made for Jesse? Big Bump hit me up and told me that there was an article on InfoWars from Alex Jones featuring that song. They didn't give me any credit, but who cares? Because my name, my face is on it. It's a picture he took when we went. It was actually at Danny's wedding. Took that picture
Oh,
when
nice.
Jesse was there, and that was the cover of it. So it's pretty sweet. I'd have never known, but thanks to Big Bump, he texted me the link, and I posted it in my story. So we're making waves, man.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, we got a call.
I saw Queen Butterfly in the chat. Welcome. Quang.
Like,
What's up, Black Toria? Black Toria.
what is up? How are you guys?
All is well. How you doing?
I'm good.
No man is good.
Got
Good,
him.
Trevor.
I know. I baited you for that. I want her to be
You did.
psychic.
And I fell for it like a beta. My lord.
Would that be a
No,
widow?
I just wanted to
You're a
call
woman?
in and say hi to you guys.
Hi.
What's the word? How you holding up in the quarantine?
Everything is good. I don't know if you guys. Oh yeah, you guys saw my Instagram story today, where
Yeah.
I went out maskless and I got gestured at like, what are you
Yeah,
doing?
you
What's
ran
wrong
into
with you?
a couple Karens and Carls.
I didn't see that.
And he looked like an Enrique, actually. So I was really shocked. Like, really, you?
So were
Okay.
they talking amongst themselves, or they were telling you, how dare you?
No, it was just one guy. Like, and we were kind of secluded, so I know, he felt pretty brave, I guess. But I was just walking by, and I actually was kind of smiling because I was thinking about something. And I looked at him, and he had his hands up, like he was looking dead at me, and he had his hands up, kind of like, what? Kind of like that. And I'm thinking, like, what's wrong with you, dude? Like,
Did you
just
use your
walk
black
and-
card and be like, you're picking on me because I'm black? He would have been like, oh, no, no, I swear.
I didn't think to do that until I passed the guy, and I was like, dude, I should have played the race card, man. But
I
that
would,
was totally
if I was
Satan,
black,
so.
if I was really black, I would do that all the time as a joke.
Yeah, it'd be
Just
funny.
to see people be like, freak out, and then be like, no, I'm just joking, man.
Just like Jesse had that protest. He's like, you can't say that. I'm black. You can't say that. And then they started going like, but no, I didn't mean it that way.
Dude, that's so true. I gotta try that, because you know what? As I was listening to T last night, it brought back some memories. Like I was thinking about how my mom used to do some really out of whack stuff when I was little. And I remember my older brother and I used to be so embarrassed because when we would go to stores and my mom wouldn't get her way, she would always say, it's because I'm black. And I remember my brother and I used to look at each other like, is she serious?
That's
That
awesome.
can't be right.
I want to be with you
So
when
I
you do
have
it.
it. What were we gonna say?
Said, I want to be with you when you do it, so I can film it.
I mean, that would be great. I mean, because I must have it in me somewhere. Because, like I said, if my mom was bold enough to do it, it's got to be in my genes somewhere to pull that out of my back pocket. So I'll try it sometime, and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, it was interesting today. I'm starting to notice, the folks that don't wear the masks, we're kind of bonding on a certain level. We make eye contact. We do the, hey, good morning. How's it going?
Yeah,
The
it's like
mask
the- it's
people,
like,
they kind of,
people with dreadlocks, you know, they're like, hey man, I got dreads too, or the same shirt. They're like, hey man, yeah.
Exactly. It's like the same thing. It's almost like people that wouldn't normally talk to each other get the opportunity to kind of see that they have common ground in a nonverbal way. So it's actually pretty cool. I like that part of it, you know?
Yeah.
So,
I've been actually
yeah,
not
pretty
really paying attention too much about this coronavirus stuff because it just seems like it's not getting anywhere. But I've heard some. What is this about Dr. Fauci? Hasn't he been going back and forth about his mask theory? Like, didn't he say that the mask doesn't mean anything in the beginning, and then now he's saying, oh wait, the mask saved lives? Like, they're going back and forth about it.
I've only seen footage of him saying that it's not necessary. That it's really only useful for frontline workers, you know, hospital people. But it doesn't really help us because it's not a perfect seal, and we touch our face and yada yada yada. So, but yeah, I don't even care. Like it might as well not be real to me. From day one, I was just not worried about it. It's just another bug that you got to overcome, and no government, no human being is going to help you overcome that. It's your body and God alone. And if it gets you, it gets you. If it doesn't, well, thank God you survived.
yeah, and I think it helps to stay around people that share your same sentiments because, you know, like I've seen you guys and I've seen some other folks from church, and there's no nervousness when we see each other. It's just we're kicking it, we're hanging, we're not social distancing. It's life as usual. You know what I mean? It's the people that are kind of scared that have broken away and they've kind of faded to black. You know, like they're not really at the forefront of my life because, like, even my family has kind of tapered off. Like they really believe in this whole social distancing thing. And my thing is, cool. I support whatever you feel, I guess. Fine. You know, I'll see you when it's all over, I guess. I don't know. So, yeah, I'm just going, honestly, living day to day. But, like, you know, I'm sure you guys have experienced the same thing. I feel like the quarantine has really just shed some light on some areas that a lot of us could be working on right now or just, you know, kind of straightening out in our lives.
Yeah, good for you. I wish I was more. My schedule has been like super backwards. I've been like staying up all night and then going to bed in the morning, and it's like it's messing with me. So I gotta reverse that schedule around. But on Facebook, right? Facebook. I don't know why I always bring up Facebook, but that's where I hear people talking about the coronavirus stuff more. Like somebody left a comment because I left something about I saw a picture of the back of one of those masks, right? The typical mask you see people wearing, the blue one, and someone said on the box it said that these masks are not going to help you, you know, against viruses or anything else, right? And it said that on the box, and so I posted this picture, and someone commented on it like about how, you know, I used to think that this was all a hoax and a joke too until my family got sick and I lost a family member. And I've seen a few of those family member things, and I think it trips me out because people forget how many people die every day of all kind of stuff, right? And it's not like I'm saying that the coronavirus is fake or that the coronavirus itself is a hoax. It's that there's been obvious like lies about it. You know, the numbers, the deaths, all kind of stuff. And so it's just interesting because I don't think people understand that like something like that happens. It's like, say, like my dad, right? He got cancer some years ago, and he overcame it and beat it. But along the way, it's like I never got scared. I never nothing, and it didn't taint my idea of cancer. You know, it didn't change anything about it. But I guess if you get coronavirus or someone in your family gets it, that's the point this person was making, is that it changes the what you think about it. And I just don't think that would be true because, I don't know, for me at least. Do you think that if someone in your family got coronavirus, you would, change the what you think about it?
No, not at all, because it would be like me tripping out if they got a cold or the flu.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? I don't see, even with the cancer thing, like I think I have a couple family members that have had cancer, but it doesn't change my viewpoint of it, you know, because I have a really far out idea of cancer anyway. I think people kind of, for the most part, bring cancer onto themselves with their thoughts and just their spirit and how they are.
How dare
you? So that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm just kind of like, well, nah. Everybody that it happened to in my family was pretty bitter. So I'm like, dude, I think you did that to yourself.
Well, yeah, I
don't know.
Like, I still make cancer jokes, you know? Like, you know how sometimes something happens to them and all of a sudden it changes them, you can't joke about it, it's super serious. Like, I guess maybe it's just the type of person I am, but things are going to happen. And once I take on that attitude of like, oh, I'm upset and I'm going to have to tell people, like, don't make cancer jokes, whatever it is, you know, like, of course it's unfortunate. Nobody wants cancer, and that sucks. But even if I had cancer or was dying or whatever, I would still want to laugh and enjoy my life. Like, you know, I wouldn't take it serious like that.
Yeah, anyone who gets in their feelings about conditions like that and then tries to guilt you for laughing about it or making light about it, or making light about anything really, those people have a problem, and I'll never agree with them on that point. Yes, it's tragic to die, it's tragic to get sick, but you know what? That's life, and you got to get over it. And working in the hospital for a couple of years, you get to see a lot of that stuff. And the good thing is, it gives you thick skin. The nurses that work there and medical staff, they learn how to laugh at that stuff because you got to. If you don't, you take it personal, you get burnt out and you get run out.
Yeah, how you feel about something doesn't change anything at all. And I think that it's kind of like the oppression, you know, when women are oppressed and black people are oppressed. It's kind of a controlling kind of thing. Like, where if you say, oh, you can't talk about that, you know, someone in my family has it. And then it's like a way to control people to make them feel like, oh, well, I guess you make the rules, you know? And I think people just love control.
Yep. When you're angry, you want to control others.
Yeah.
That's so funny because before the chat or before the stream ended last night, you know, me and Gracie, we were in the chat playing Mama because we just, you know, that little need for control came out at the last second.
What are you guys doing?
So good. Dude, I don't even remember. We were like giving somebody advice about something. I don't remember. Oh yeah, with T and his diabetes.
Oh yeah, I remember she was trying to watch out for this diabetes. But you know what? Like, that's fine. Like, I saw this great post. It was a guy tweeting in regards to the idea of the the Karens of the world. You know, that everyone's talking about, like, you know, how Karens are just a bunch of rats and they're just annoying, right? Well, his take was, you know what? Karens are doing exactly what they're supposed to do. They're doing what women do. What really we need to do is understand that these Karens have been weaponized against what's right. So what strong men would need to do is lead those Karens so that they can do their job and do what women do and nag and point out things for the men, but have them do it the right way. Point out evil instead of trying to point out people living their lives or doing what's right. You know, it's like change the frame of how you look at it.
Have you heard the whole thing where people are saying that calling someone Karen is like calling a black person the N-word?
I haven't heard that, but it sounds really ridiculous.
I've seen things about that, but it got me thinking, like, if that were true, people wouldn't say, they'd say the K word. Like, they won't even say the N word, but they'll say Karen. And if it was just as offensive,
Yeah,
it kind of cancels itself out.
it's ridiculous.
Well, I know there is one word. It doesn't offend the men so much, white men, but it offends white women like crazy. And obviously, I can't say it because I know, you know, there's some restrictions here. But
What is it? Well, can
the
you
good
hint at
old
it?
four-letter C word. The C word, man.
Yeah, see you next
that
Tuesday.
sends white girls like in a tizzy.
See you
Oh,
next
that's
Tuesday.
such a good word though. If you really want to, if they're punching at you and you want to punch them back, that's a great word to pull out of the tool belt.
Well, let me ask you a question because I've been called that before, and it totally made me laugh. And I know that probably pissed the person off even more because it was a white guy that did it, and I was like, what? Huh? I was like, but doesn't that mean you like me then? Because I'm a vagina? Okay. It didn't hit me the way I think he wanted it to.
I couldn't
So
imagine.
I thought, well, at least he didn't say the other word. But I was like, dude, I'm not really sure where you're going with this. Are you done?
That's funny. I wouldn't. I feel like people lost class these days. You know, like using crazy words to like try to hurt other people and stuff like that. Like, I joke around and I say stuff, but I don't come from a place of like anger, you know, where I'm gonna try to hurt someone's feelings, you know, like
Yeah.
in those kind of words too. It's like it's just kind of trashy. Like we were watching this movie, and what was it? Oh yeah, what's it called? Death Proof. It was Kurt Russell
So
and
look it at the
Quentin
chat.
Tarantino.
Really, see you next Tuesday.
And they and the whole movie, like all these girls are like they're trying to set the actresses to look like they're badass. They're cussing. They're saying all these things like talking like sailors and stuff like that. And I'm just like, man, I wouldn't want a girl like that. Like I like a lady that has class. Like if it's just a free for all, if nothing matters, it's like you lose like this sense of a spark or something like that. There's something about, you know, you're not allowed to do that, and you know not to do that. That kind of keeps magic in life. I feel like, you know, I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, maybe it shouldn't be explained. I don't know. But I had a question for Beard Dude.
Shoot.
Okay. So I don't know if you have seen it in the chat, but I have a theory, and I think maybe we talked about it before, but I have a theory about this Ahmaud Arbery guy.
Yeah.
And I haven't looked at the videos that they have from, like, his previous arrests and stuff.
Yep.
My thought on him is that this kid may have been mentally retarded or, like, disabled in some way. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I believe that unless you've got trisomy 21, which is Down syndromes and all that, you're not retarded. You may have a very, very low IQ, which is, you know, you pretty much, it's even worse, I think, because you can be arrogantly ignorant. But I think it's clear. As soon as I saw that video, that's just, I mean, it proved what I already had, that what I felt was revealed to me, that this kid was exactly what I thought. He was angry. He was living like all the bad kids I grew up with, you know, just no respect for any authority, would push back, would lie, would manipulate, would lead other kids down the wrong path. Like you saw the one video of him at the Walmart. Those other kids were far younger than him. And like Big Bump said, he lied about his age to the cops, saying he was 20 when he probably would have been about 22 in that video, 23. So, I mean, he was already a manipulator, a liar, he's angry. I would bet money that his dad was not in his life, and that his mom, if we met her, not in front of the media, but just were a fly on the wall in her house, she would probably be the most nasty, ghetto, angry woman that we saw, just like most of them are. Because that's a kid like that comes from that same pattern, that same spirit.
Yeah, when I watched the video, the couple videos I've seen, I see a lot of anger for sure. That, you know, he seems like a liar. You know, like when both videos I saw, he was acting like he's you know, dumb. He's smart enough to play dumb, you know, like I guess he stole a TV or something like that, and he got arrested, but he wouldn't listen to what the cops were saying. He had him sit on the floor as a group of kids. He was the oldest one, so he was the one supposed to, you know, be a good example for the like 16 and 15-year-olds that were with him, and you know, he had him sit down on the floor, and then he was telling his story, making excuses like, oh, I have the receipt, and then he'd get up, and the cop was like, I didn't tell you to get up. And it's just like common sense stuff, you know. It's like people like that, they're bringing things onto their own lives, you know. Like
Right.
I would never do that. And I remember commenting on Instagram just on something about it, and someone's like, I hope that happens to you. And I'm like, well, it wouldn't happen to me because I don't steal, I'm not a criminal, I respect the police, and it wouldn't happen to me, you know. I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't get shot randomly out of nowhere. I mean, sure, that's possible, but that's not the case for this situation. He didn't randomly get shot. If you watch the video, he tried to attack and steal that gun from the person, and that's what he got shot.
I mean, no one in their right mind. It all hinges on that moment. There's everything else that they say before that doesn't matter in the sense that, you know, trespassing, he did it. You know, he caught several times over several months on footage going back. In this neighborhood, was experienced lots of theft. And then, of course, you know, everyone knows how people can get. Everyone's seen what happens when angry blacks get pissed about a verdict that doesn't go their way because they don't love what's right. Look at Ferguson. It gave us Black Lives Matter. They also rioted and destroyed businesses. I mean, look at LA riots. Like, they are destructive. It's just like what Jesse calls out. You know, it's not all, but so many of them are uncontrollable. So if they get let loose on these people, I understand why the homeowner now is trying to backpedal and say, well, I mean, I don't know if he stole anything, because no one wants to have that fury unleashed on them. They don't want people to come riot at their house or get attacked in the streets, because who tends to do that. Unfortunately, angry black people commit way more crime and way more violent attacks on whites, and it's not because they're black, it's because they're angry.
Yeah, because white people commit crimes too, and it's all going to be anger related for sure.
Yeah, that's the source. It just happens to affect the black community far more than it's affecting others. But every other community is going down that path. They're working on the whites just the same. Look at these kids now.
I think the real thing that makes the difference is because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but black people are more tribal than white people. Well, black people stick to their kind and kind of associate themselves with all of black people. Like, if you're black, then you must be like this. Because I've never thought that way as a white person. I never really thought about race like that, or I took my identity from it. But I noticed just from observing, online and friends and stuff like that, is that they kind of stick to their herd and identify with each other on a totally another level than anyone else that I've known. And I think that definitely shapes you some way.
That's okay. Don't worry about it. Keep going, Victoria.
Have you been that way, Victoria? Were you ever like that? Where you kind of thought because you're black, you're supposed to be a certain way because you're black?
Like you're in the club?
I will say that I have felt that before, but it was more of a pressure to do stereotypical black things. There was never anything like inside of me that felt like a lot of those things were natural. So I will say also that my mom had a lot to do with that, because my mom was not, if you were to meet her and just kind of, take her in small doses, she wasn't your typical black person on the surface. You know what I mean? Like, she wasn't really ghetto or anything like that, and she did her best to keep us out of those areas. So, she always had a job, all kinds of stuff. So we weren't exposed to that part of it. I would say the most black thing that I guess happened was us, the way we grew up and the way my siblings and I came into the world. That was very stereotypically black. I mean, my mom did a great job being black that way, but as far as how she, handled herself, no. So because of that, I didn't grow up really listening to rap music until I hit, I think, about maybe 5th or 6th grade. And I think that's really because, though, like, MTV was changing and the radio was changing and all kinds of stuff. So we were actually introduced to rap more frequently. So I did, gravitate to that. And then baggy clothes, yes, because I was a tomboy when I was a kid. But I don't think that that's black or white. I think that that's just what happens when girls have lots of brothers.
Yeah.
And let's see, what else? I can't really say that. I wasn't aware of my blackness until I hit high school, though, because everybody started to separate and segregate. When we were kids, we were all together. There were blacks, whites, Vietnamese, Korean, Filipino, Pakistani. I had friends of all races. But once I got to high school, it was different. It was like the black kids are over here. They look a certain way. They wear their hair a certain way. They talk a certain way. They're loud in class. They have to tell jokes. The Hispanics are there with their baggy clothes. Everybody says, "Hey, dog fool." ASA, that's their thing. And then the Asians, nobody knows what they did because they really kept to themselves. And then the white kids were just white. They just they stayed quiet, because they were outnumbered by the colored people. So, to answer your question, sorry, I kind of went off on a tangent, but yes, I did feel that pressure. And then I remember I even felt it in one of my first corporate jobs, because there was a segment of black women in that particular department I was in, and they were very, very pro-black. And I didn't experience that because my adult life it just didn't turn out that way. Like, I was surrounded by Hispanics and white people in my personal life. So I only got the black experience when I went to work, and it did feel uncomfortable. Like, I didn't really ever feel like I could express myself around them because I didn't talk like them. I didn't sound like them. I didn't look like them. I didn't like the same things that they liked. So there was a time in my early 20s where I questioned, like, am I black enough? Because my life doesn't reflect that. I did struggle with that for a while. As an adult more so than as a kid.
It's interesting because it's almost like there's two things. It's like your skin color, you could be black, right? but then there's also a way of acting and a culture. Like, because I've seen like Asian people, you know, kind of be like the hip hop Asian dudes that maybe are like dancers and act black or whatever you want to call it. I feel like there should be a new name that wouldn't be black. You know, like it's because it's a culture identity thing. Not because you're black you have to act a certain way, but I do notice, and I have had friends that have commented like if you're not black enough, right? They'll be like, oh, you're white, you know, like, or you're a whitewashed black guy, and people have this sense of trying to categorize you and putting that pressure, like you said, on making you feel like, well, if I want to be accepted in this group or whatever like that. For me, like, because I've been in different, you know, circles, and I've always hung around different type of people, and black people especially. Like, I never talked, like, you know, some people, like, they get around certain people and it changes who they are. Like, when I'm around this crowd, I'm going to act like, you know, it's like Hillary Clinton. She'll be like, my hot sauce. Like, she panders and caters to whatever audience she has. And I feel like people have respected it when I would just be myself, because it's like, I'm different than you, and that's cool. We could love each other and be friends and hang out and appreciate each other's differences. It's not like, you know, I think people notice that insecurity more than anything else, that when you switch up, it's like, oh, I have control over you. You want to act this way around me and try to make me like you. When people like really respect you more, when you're able to just be who you are and not be movable, because that's a sign of being moved by other people, where people can move you and shape you because you just want to be liked and accepted, you know?
Yeah, it's not. You should never. Don't concern yourself with being part of any group, because you're not part of a group. You may share a common heritage, skin color, culture, but you are always and will always be an individual and responsible for your own actions and your own behavior. And you may share some traits with people, and that's cool, that's amazing, but you shouldn't define yourself by the group, and don't speak as a group. There's a way to do it when you're just describing like data or statistics, but when people act like, oh man, like us black people gotta stick together, or us brown people gotta rise up, it's like, that's a problem. That's losing yourself in there.
I agree.
Well, yeah, because the thing is, when you talk like that, when you say we have to stick together, you're already implying that there is an enemy that you have to stick together to defend yourselves against.
For sure.
And yeah, and we all know who that particular enemy is. It's like you don't even have to say it. You just know exactly what they mean when they say that. When black people say we have to stick together, what they mean is we need to continue to hate people that don't look like us. When they say, you know, stuff that sounds harmless, like, oh, because you're black, you have to work this much harder than everybody else, that is absolutely not true. All it means is that you need to learn how to socialize, and you need to get in the right circles. It has nothing to do with being black. It has to do with your ability to migrate, or to, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? You have to integrate yourself into certain circles, whatever race they are. You just need to know who can get you to a certain place. That's the thing that black people don't tell their children. They don't tell them that it's who you know. It's not always how hard you work. You know what I'm saying? That's just life. And I think, you know, it's unfortunate that it's being sold to us like that. Luckily for me, I was told those things, but I was smart enough to know that it was BS. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, okay, you're saying that, but why is it that, you know, in every job I've had where I've been able to, you know, go to a higher level, it was because I knew people. It wasn't really my skill set. It was based on who I knew, and that was it. So that literally totally just obliterates everything that I was ever told in my life. So I know that I was thinking correctly in knowing that it's who I knew. It's not about sticking together with black people. Because I'm going to tell you, if you stick with blacks, you're not going to get very far depending on where you live. And it also depends on what types of black people are you know, that you're sticking together with. Because I'm not going to stick with the hood people, because that's not going to get me anywhere. Now, I could utilize them in a certain part of my life, but I wouldn't put myself with them permanently. Like, they do have a benefit, but you have to take them in small doses, just like, the upper crust black people that I was telling you about the other day that gave me crap for me telling them what I told them. Okay, they have their ideas, but guess what? They probably can help me, one or two of them in a certain way. Matter of fact, I just got a client referred to me from one of those people the other day. So I do believe in sticking together with people if you know how to kind of work the system. I mean, I hate to say that, but am I making sense? Like, do you get what I'm saying? It's like,
I mean, kind of,
you
but
can
I
stick
don't.
with them, but stick with them in a certain way. Like, don't stick with them like they're your, like you have to stay with them. It's do or die. It's not like that. It's like,
Well, I mean, the only thing I
be
would
around
say,
them when you need to.
I wouldn't stick with anybody that's just because, hey, I'm going to stick with all, white / Latinos. Like, I don't ever want to stick with groups. I like knowing people of different groups, but I don't want to stick with them just because of that or how I can use them.
I did that in a sense too with musicians, like in entertainment, like I would identify with other people who are talented, and that would kind of like create a connection deeper than other people because we had this commonality, and that burned me in the end because I assumed that there was this love there that was real, and as soon as I started going, speaking my mind and saying certain things, that totally like separated. People didn't like me anymore, and all kind of stuff, and so that created a letdown for me because I had these expectations that something was the way it was when it wasn't real. It was just I admired their talents, and it's crazy. Like, because now I recognize that it's just about character, about loyalty. It's about doing what's right and waiting for things to be revealed to where it's shown and proven who they are, as opposed to, oh, you play piano really good and we play music together, therefore, like, oh, we're BFFs now, Similar.
Yeah, and I agree with you, and I know for myself, like, even as I was just talking, I'm like, wow, okay, I definitely still have some growing up to do and some sorting out to do, so that part I get, because I'm still learning every day, like, when to speak my mind on certain things, when to be quiet, and maybe I do need to, refine or revise how I approach relationships with certain groups of people, but I am in a place now where I just am learning to take people as they are. So, I know black people that do say, let's stick together. I'm not going to distance myself from those people just because they have a totally different way of seeing life. Like I said, I can take them in small doses because
we all
have to keep.
Because I noticed people, like even the ones who are awake, I've noticed a pattern, like at church sometimes, that when people wake up, if they came from that mentality of being part of a group, like say black people, because that's a very strong tribal identity that they have to overcome. Even when they wake up, some people, I've seen Mexicans do it, they have a hard time, I think, being as brutally honest with those people that the identity they overcame. So they'll go easier, like say a black guy will go easier on another black dude instead of telling him the brutal truth, because they still feel sorry, or they feel like, oh, I can't say it that way. I mean, I don't want to hurt the brother's feelings, or Mexican guys like, well, I don't want to, insult my padrino. Like, I think you can't. If anything, you got to be just as brutal with your own, with what you thought was your own kind, because that's just, to me, it's a way to let the devil back in. If you go easy on them, like you should be honest with them, which is going to probably get you excommunicated.
It really comes from fear, like, because you're afraid of how they're going to react and respond, and you're afraid that you don't know how to handle it, or
you don't want to deal with it. Like, I know they're going to go crazy and call me a whitewashed black girl, so I don't want to even go there with them.
Right.
Because you know how they can get. But I think you got to have the nuts to go there.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like I would go there now with any of my family. I have no shame in telling them out and saying, you guys are acting like a bunch of lazy immigrants. If they are acting that way, or if they are being ungrateful, I'll tell them, go back to El Salvador. Get out of here. It's like there's no more room for that, because if anything's going to change, that it's going to be you and how you deal with them.
Okay, Beard Dude, I have a question for you.
Shoot.
All right, so, I like Queen Butterfly's question, but hold on, mine first.
Do y'all like black girls? I used to, Queen Butterfly. I used to date them. I went out on a few dates.
I know, because you talk like you've had experience. So I'm like, okay, I think he has.
Yeah,
Okay, so
taking them out.
do you believe? Because I know that you know, looking at each race and you know how they conduct themselves and things like that is something that may not be at the forefront of your mind, but it is something that you have a lot of commentary on. So let me ask you this, and I may have asked you this before, so correct me if I have, or my apologies for asking again. But do you feel like spirit and character trump culture and race as far as when you look at people? Because you know how we want to separate, segregate, all that kind of stuff. Fantastic. But what are the odds that you'll find people, and this is more for people of color, I think, but people that look like you that are going to share that same spirit? I don't think it's going to always be that easy. And if your spirit or your, you know, your belief system resonates with someone that does not look like you, does that trump your, what's that word? Not dedication, but does it trump your,
Loyalty?
what's the word I'm looking for? Your obligation to be with people that look like you. Like, what is greater in your eyes, the spirit or the actual race and culture?
I say now where I'm at and with how I can see, in the end, like kind of how Matt and T talk about, like my real family is those who share my faith, like Trevor and you and Jesse, and I really understand the importance of having the same culture for your child that you had, because the world will use that, the devil will use that to mess with that child. But like what Jesse said in church, you know, a while back when I posed the question that when you can be awake and you can meet someone who maybe is not of the culture you grew up with, and it could work because you guys both have that same strong faith. I'm not gonna say I never will consider it, but I think it just seems like it would be best for that child to have. I mean, but things are changing. You can have minorities that are, you know, through and through Americans, like Jesse. Like Jesse seems super American and likes a lot of things that Americans like that would find in common, not just Black Americans, just even white Americans. But I think I think of the children, and I would want my child to have the smoothest ride and the easiest identity to see, and not struggle with what am I and the world treats me differently.
Culture is a kind of an illusion. You said something about obligation. Like, obligation, there is no obligation with culture. I feel like I see it's like if you're a car, right? The culture is just the paint job and the rims on the car. Like, it's just an outer appearance. And at the end of the day, it comes down to right and wrong, good or evil. And I surround myself with people that just don't have anger. You know, like at the end of the day, they don't have hatred and anger inside. And they could be, I don't care what their paint job is on the outside, you know, as long as they drive good. And so it's because it's all just a entertainment at that point. You know, it's like, I know that some cultures, it's intertwined where right and wrong is mixed in between inside the culture, where like maybe religion or what they think is right or wrong. But at the end of the day, it's like the golden rule, you know, like do unto others as others would do unto you. And I don't hate anybody because I don't want anyone to hate me, right? But I can't control what other people do. Of course, some people will hate me, but doesn't mean I'm going to be like them. Like, because they hate me, I'm going to hate them back. And I actually appreciate it when I meet people that I could recognize they don't have that anger and they're straight up. And it's like, because, you know, it's less common now to meet, you know, people like you who are Black, who, you know, they don't see, of course you see color physically. I know you're Black, you know I'm white, but it's not like you're operating from that place, you know. And I appreciate that, because I know, like, I was a white guy in a room full of Black people for a long time, and people would make comments about it, you know. They'd be like, oh, you're not white, you're Black, you got soul, or whatever it was. And at the time, it would like boost my ego, because I think, oh yeah, I'm accepted. But the reality is that if it really hit the fan, like people, the Black people would have, you know, went to their tribe and not me, you know, because I've experienced that, where once I do speak out and think of how I think, you know, because just because I can sing and make music doesn't make me Black or anything, you know. It's like, at the end of the day, all that stuff doesn't matter. It's just about, like, you know, whether you have anger or hate. Like, it's hard to explain it, but I remember my ego, my identity, I would gather it from there. I wasn't like Eminem, where I was like, yo.
How would you address the question which in terms of a wife. You know, in this case, for us to be finding a wife.
Oh, I didn't realize that was.
Would her spirit and her faith matter more than her having a similar culture and skin color and race? You know how Jesse says that it's better. We're made as different nations. We're made to be unique nations. Ideally, we stay within our nations. We can work together, but we should marry within our own kind. What would it be for you? Do you see yourself choosing faith over race?
I think they're intertwined. I think that faith and loving what's right affects your culture. You know, like your culture is going to be affected by that. If you really truly love what's right and can discern right and wrong, there's cultural things that you won't do. You know, like you're not going to be all into the certain things certain cultures are into.
Yeah, I'd say, Victoria, that if I was unclear, I mean, looking back since I woke up with Jesse, as a child, before I got all traumatized with my parents' anger and all their fighting and all that anger, I remember all my crushes and girls that the innocent crushes where there's no sex, no nothing, just pure, I like this girl, I just want to hang out with her and make her my friend. They looked like me in many ways, and they were either mixed Hispanic or white girls. And that changed as I got older, and the more angry I got, I started to kind of branch out, like, oh, check out that hot Hindu girl over there. Look at that black girl.
I can appreciate beauty for what it is. Like, beauty doesn't have a color or race. I can physically be attracted to anybody who's like...
Yeah, you can appreciate what's hot and
yeah,
sexy.
like there's it's just like Haagen-Dazs. Like, as long as it's Haagen-Dazs, like, the flavor is like cool. Like,
but it became a fetish, is what I'm saying for me. That anger led to...
Yeah.
I was looking purely at physical, like, just, oh yeah, she's a hot,
right,
light-skinned girl, or she's a hot Korean girl. Like, I didn't care about the innocent love, that pureness anymore. It was just like, man, she's banging. And I think since Jesse waking up, I feel like I did when I was a kid, where it's just like, it just should, I don't know, it just kind of should go natural. But it doesn't mean that it may not never happen, and maybe she was not going to look like you, because that's the whole point of faith. But that's at least where I went back to for now. And it's hard to say who I will marry and what I won't marry, but for sure, I think number one, above all, that I cannot lie, is that she has to have my faith.
Yeah. I feel you. You know, I go back in time and I think of every person that I dated that wasn't black, and they, like I told you guys before, they always had a problem with their mom, and it was intense. It wasn't like just my mom's crazy. It was like, no, I hate my mom, and I'm okay if I never talk to her again. And I'm like, dude, you're using me to keep this agenda going.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't do that. That's not cool.
As a woman,
but then I had to see then I had to realize I may have been doing that too. So I didn't realize that till recently.
I mean,
so.
the devil's gonna work on the ladies, I think, easier. He has an easier time messing with your heads, even if you're awake. So it's just because you guys want it. Like I think it's natural for a girl to think about marriage like that, and play with dolls, and it's just something they do. Like when they're innocent, like it's the roles they play. Like the little boys are already getting ready to become men and going out and playing war and just learning that. And I think just keep it innocent. It should feel like a friend. It's kind of like Jesse says. Like there's no feeling. Like I think too many girls, even when they wake up and meet Jesse, they're still waiting for a feeling. They want it to be like this romantic thing, and you're like, oh my God, he hit every item on my list, and they still keep those lists in their back pocket, acting like they're still awake, and they're not, because they're still hoping that maybe I can do the silent prayer, but I can still keep this list, and God will give me exactly what I want, And they don't realize that you don't know what you want, and so we may all be surprised, myself included.
I mean, you're so right. All right, one last question, and then I will let you guys go. Thanks for talking for so long. Okay. Now, a lot of people want to be married, right? And I'm going to ask each of you one by one. So, Trevor, I'm going to ask you first. Well, no, because I think I know your answer. You said you don't really know what you want right now. So, maybe this question isn't fit for you. So, beard guy.
Yeah.
Do you want to be married and be a husband? Because I do feel like those are two totally different things. And do you see a difference between a person that wants to be married versus a person that wants to be a husband or wife?
In the worldly sense, yes. I think that's what a lot of women suffer from, and beta males. They want the ride. They want the item, the thing. You know, I want that marriage. You don't want the job or the responsibility. And for me now, I don't. That's not that I want it, because I got, you know, I can't want it or wish it into existence. But I know that when I think about it, there's no doubt in my mind. I have no more conversation in my head. I don't have to prepare myself. That when people ask me the questions, would you and are you ready to get married? Absolutely. I don't doubt it. I don't doubt that I'd be a good father. I don't doubt that I'd love those kids, that I wouldn't let her destroy them, that I would have the backbone to put her in place. And if she wants to leave, then so be it. I'm not worried about any of that. I don't care about waking up early, not getting sleep. It's just going to be what it is. It's just something you got to, you know, it just, to me, it's just all good. It'd be a fun thing. I know some parents will be like, you just wait till you have kids, you'll find out. It's like, I don't think that way. I think the gift that Jesse helped us find was that nothing's a big deal, and not even raising kids is not going to be a big deal. Being married is not going to be a big deal. But I would be careful not to want it so bad, because you're only going to let yourself down if it doesn't happen.
Yes, and oh man, I'm trying not to think about it, right? But I really am starting to look at my life, and I'm considering, do I want to be married or do I want to be a wife? And it hits me, and I don't know if this is Satan or not, but it's like sometimes I'll walk into my place and I'll, you know, look around and I'll say, oh my gosh, if my husband were to walk in right now, would he like choke me out for the way this place looks right now? Like, would he be okay with the way my place looks, or that there's a couple of dishes in the sink, or I didn't vacuum today? Like, oh my gosh. So I don't know if I'm starting to think like a wife or what it is, because I have that thought now where I'm like, wait a minute.
But see, what I think that is, what I think that is like, you're getting wrapped up in, would my husband want this or whatever that is, but that's really your knowingness of knowing what you need to do better. That's all it is.
Right, yeah.
You're aware of it, being like, oh, I could do better.
And I'm calling it something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, don't overthink it. Like Jesse, and like it's obvious. We don't know what God's gonna give to us and add to our lives, but if He is gonna do it, it's gonna be because you are prepared for it, and you have no doubts and no fear about it, and that's it. But you have to have no doubts and no fear about any and all outcomes. That you stay single for the rest of your life, and you have no children and no husband, or that you do get married and have many children, or 1.5 or 2.5, whatever it is. You got to be ready for all of it, and it will only come in the right way if you're doing it right, with no expectations, and staying out of your thoughts. Like, that's how I look at it. Like, I would like to say I know it'll come to me, like, you know, hey, I'm doing everything on my list, like you heard before, my storehouse is not full. You know, I've been tithing. You know, I don't want to think like that just because I did this. He's got to give it to me, because He may not.
And you know what helps me too is instead of trying to force myself to stay out of my thoughts, as long as I can acknowledge when I am in a thought, that's all that I need to do, because then that way I'm aware of what's happening, and I'm not going down this imaginary path in my mind and getting seduced into my thoughts. As long as I'm always the observer, and I'm aware of myself, where I'm like, oh, I'm thinking about this, or this thought's getting to me, or whatever it is, and I don't judge myself, and I'm aware that I am doing it, that's all I need. That's all I need.
I agree. And see, this is why I like that I can ask you guys these kinds of questions, because in my head, I really thought that was like a legit thought process. And really, it is just me catching myself, knowing that I should do A, B, and C better. You know what I mean? And I really do believe in my heart of hearts that certain things do have to be in place before God's going to place a person in front of you. I really believe that, because it's not your job to pull me out of hell. It's your job to literally lead me on a right path, okay? Don't come to hell and get me. Once I come out, we'll walk together. You know what I'm saying? So that's more or less what I'm seeing right now. It's like, okay, now that I notice this thing, all right, it's in front of me, let me do it, and let me be more diligent. Let me be, let me really stick to this. So yeah, when you talked about, people at Bond and stuff like that, it's just, I noticed that, and I, when the ladies and I talk, that is something I'm actually going to probably talk about later on, but I always wonder, because a lot of us do want to be married, but I don't think a lot of us want to be wives just yet. We just like the idea of having a leader, but we don't know what it means to be a wife.
Yeah, I was talking to someone and getting to know somebody, and they had, of course, they'll have a different observation, but at least in the beginning, there was an agreement that, no matter that, even though she knew the truth and she woke up, found Jesse, realized she had anger and was living wrong and, was choosing the wrong man, and they were all basically, it was the same pattern of males that would let her down, but she still had this the same list that, even after meeting Jesse, this list still had to be in place, even though that list bore no fruit with anything else before. In the end, God can still bring people to you, but like you just said, if you're not doing it, you're not working it right, or your ego gets in the way and tells you that, oh, you're doing it, it right in your way, what's good for you, and don't worry about what anyone else says, and you can't take what maybe a guy is seeing, then you may fail. And I'm not saying that I was right, but I certainly don't think I didn't have any doubts about my observation. I felt like that was still an issue that I hope that person can overcome, because you don't wish anybody to be stuck in their head at all, and especially a woman that you can see they do deserve, well, not deserve, but I think they could make a good wife, but not like that. Not if they still have that ego about, well, I'm doing what's right for me, and and I deserve this list. I worked too hard to not get what I want. And I think that's a trap that women usually find themselves in, especially as you get older. Their ego gets harder to break, and they feel like, they're in a rush to get married because they're already approaching 40, and then 2, they're stubborn about thinking that they know what the other person should be or look like, because they feel like, well, since I'm successful and I've done this in my life, like, why I shouldn't settle for less. So that's still the ego of thinking that they know better than what God can see.
Yeah, no, you're right, and that's really all it is at the end of the day. When you have an idea of the person you're going to marry, when you have a list, when you have a chip on your shoulder about what you deserve and what you don't, you are in essence playing God, and God is not necessarily going to turn his back on you, but he's going to leave you where you stand in that moment until you get it together and realize that you're not in control. It's all about surrender, and that's the one thing, that all of us, that's the most any of us can do every day, is just try to get in that surrender mode and, just be at peace with the idea and the fact that you don't know anything.
10 times out of 10.
You don't know what's coming. You'll never know. You just have to live it, and it's going to come. You know what I'm saying? That's the answer. And for us women, that is so difficult to accept. You know what I'm saying?
10 times out of 10, God doesn't turn his back on us. We turn our back on God, because we get seduced into those thoughts, and we think, our intellect tries to come up with a reason and excuse and blame, and you blame God or for whatever it is, but it's really just our error of being unable to want to see the truth and look at it.
Yep, it's true, man. But yeah, that's my 50 cents, $2, $5 that I'm putting in tonight. I am done. Thank you guys. This has been great.
Thing.
Oh, and one last thing, you guys. Joe Rogan is leaving YouTube. So this is there's no time like right now to blow up a podcast.
Really?
He is going to leave a massive hole in YouTube's viewership.
Where's he going?
He's going to Spotify. He got $100 million contract, and he's taking all of his videos off of YouTube, supposedly. So I thought of you guys as soon as I heard that yesterday. I was like, dude, this is amazing. So many people are going to get exposure now.
I need to get my Spotify together, too, in the sense of my music. I got to put out this music, man, because that's where my numbers are. I'm getting 230,000 streams a month on Spotify for my music. I got to cater to Spotify.
It's gonna be great, and they said that Spotify has videos or something now, and I didn't know that. So, it's gonna be great. It's an interesting turn of events this this whole year is surprising me. So yeah,
Hey,
I mean, I hope
Victoria.
everything works out. It's
Victoria,
gonna be good for somebody.
would you be interested in a little video project for a song that Trevor put together for July?
As long as I don't have to be in blackface, absolutely.
No, because you already got a blackface.
But you know what? Hey, and I wear red lipstick, but it looks good, okay? But yeah, let me know. Run it
Okay.
by me,
'Cause we
and
need-
I'll talk to God about it.
I figure we're trying to reach out to the Bond people to help us out with this little project.
All right, yeah, because you guys got, what, a month and a half now?
Yeah.
Till White History Month, I think?
Yeah.
So,
So
all
just
right,
stay
sounds
out-
good to
stay out of
me.
your
Y'all
head.
know where to find me.
Yeah, stay out of your head. Let go of all the lists. Don't worry about it, and just be still. Especially as a woman, just be as still as you can. And don't.
I can't be still. I got squats to do, homie. I ain't being still for nothing.
Yeah, you can. Well, the body can move. Just keep that mind still.
That's right. All right, you guys. Well, this was fun. I hope to see you guys soon.
All
Thanks for calling.
Bye.
All right, talk to you later. Call from
Marty White Band.
to accept, press.
Hey, what's up, buddy? Hello.
Hey,
How you doing?
yeah, am I talking to Trevor?
This is Richard and Trevor. Yeah, Trevor's here too.
What's up, man?
Oh, hey, what's going on? Am I on the web right now?
Yes,
You're on
sir.
the World Wide Web.
How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing all right, man. I was gonna ask you what you think about Tyson James.
Tyson James.
Are you guys buddies?
Who's Tyson James again?
He's a Christian rapper. His music's played on Jesse Lee Peterson's show.
Unruh. Tyson Unruh.
I don't know him
Yeah,
personally.
he goes by Unruh. Yeah.
I don't know him personally, but I've heard his stuff. I think he's dope. I think I added him on Facebook a while ago and said something like left him a comment or something like that. But yeah, I think he's cool, man. I if the stars align, yeah, I'll do something with him.
I would love to see you guys work together. I mean, I like both of you, and I'll tell you, man, that guy. I've talked to him. I actually had an interview with him with a buddy of mine that had some equipment, but I've also talked to him many times on the phone, and he's always available, and he's really cool. I mean, he's like very inspirational, very positive, and I was just wondering if you knew who he was, because
Yeah, I know who he is now.
I know both of your songs are played. I mean, both of your music is played on Jesse Lee Peterson.
Yeah, I mean, I've only heard that one track, but it's good, and I'd like to meet him one day. I don't know if I think he's based out of L.A.
Really?
I think.
No, he's in Seattle.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Seattle.
Well, maybe if we get this RV, we can go to Seattle and meet him.
And he hates it up there. It's like these people are crazy.
It's super liberal. I went up there years ago. I got an uncle he's a detective out in King County, Washington, and where he's at, it's nice and conservative, super forested area, beautiful people, and but the city was even back then. This was maybe 15 years ago. It was already kind of very, very LA-like. It's starting to feel that way. So I can't imagine how liberal it is now.
Where, Seattle?
Yeah.
Yeah. My neighbor, I actually had two neighbors that used to live in Portland, and they're like, that is a horrible place to live.
Yeah, I've heard.
And my neighbor, one of them, he said, I go, have you ever seen Portlandia? And he goes, that is exactly what that town is like. He said, I lived there, and that show is very accurate.
I think too, it's always these places that get these really leftist, people in power that like the mayors and the people
like
that
Kate
are
Brown in Oregon.
Yeah, like they're the ones that are leading the way. Their little policies.
Yeah, I mean, I live in Kansas City, and
Kansas
it's
City,
horrible.
here I come.
Is that next to Arkansas?
No, it's Kansas City, Missouri. Actually, a lot of people get confused because they hear Kansas City and they think it's in Kansas, but there is a Kansas City, Kansas.
And
But,
Missouri. That's crazy. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I think that's where my an old college friend. She is a police officer out in Kansas City, Missouri. Because I remember saying the same thing. I was like, wow, you're in Kansas. And she says, no, I'm in Missouri. I'm like, but you just said Kansas City.
Yes. And what's funny is whenever, like, I was in the military, and so when I was in the military, like, everybody from all over, you know, they were like, they go, come back home, Toto. You know, they think of that, the Wizard of Oz.
Yep.
Something I would say, but I figure if you're in Kansas, you've heard that your whole life. They'll be like, oh, I guess we're not in Kansas anymore. Like, shut up.
Yeah, I know, man. I don't want to take up any more of your time, but I was like, I saw you on there, and I was like,
so,
yeah, maybe I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, dude,
you know, I hear all these people.
I appreciate
I hear
the
all
support.
these people. Oh, no problem. I hear all these people. It's so funny because they're like, oh my gosh, I've been trying to call your show, like to Jesse Lee Peterson. They'll be like, I've been trying to call your show for months, and I finally got through. The very first time I dialed the number to the Jesse Lee Peterson show, I got through.
Same here.
The very first time I called the hate report, I called that one before I called Jesse, and my buddy goes, oh, you just got lucky. You'd never be able to get through to Jesse. And I go, well, let me try it. And I tried it, and it wasn't even at the, I mean, you know, a lot of people say, you need to call it earlier. Don't call it while the show's going on. I didn't even do that. I was just like, I'm going to try it. And I called, and I got through.
Nice.
I was like, man, these people, I guess they're just not lucky.
yeah, like just I mean, some people just are getting their thoughts about it and just don't realize that, you know, like it's not a big deal. The lines open up all the time. I got through the other day. I was driving with Trevor, and I called in, and Nick picked up on the second try.
Wow. Do you guys like Kentucky Fried Chicken?
I love it.
I like Popeyes better.
I used to eat Pioneer Chicken, but they went out of business.
Do you like the coleslaw at Kentucky Fried Chicken?
Heck yeah.
No.
You don't like it?
I'm not a coleslaw fan in general, and fast food coleslaw, I'll pass.
I like it. I think it's refreshing. It's not too like Trevor would say, mayonnaise.
I like their mashed potatoes and gravy, though.
Oh yeah, I like their mashed potatoes and gravy. I like it because they're a pretty clean place. You don't have to worry about getting shot when you go in there.
Right.
Like Popeyes, man, everybody's getting crazy. You know,
I like the Popeyes chicken better, though. I do. I can't lie. I like their there's a spicy chicken. You know, it's like something about that skin. Damn it.
Yeah. What do you think about the? I like the bean. When I go to Popeyes, I only order one thing: beans and rice.
Oh, my mom was the same way. She loved the beans and rice. They got some really good beans and rice. The red beans and rice.
Yeah,
the
get the
Popeyes chicken
full-size beans
sandwich?
and rice.
Chicken sandwich. Oh yeah, you had that Popeyes chicken sandwich that everyone was like raving about.
I had it.
Was it worth it?
I mean, it's good. I still think Chick-fil-A is better, though. But it was good.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did you see the guy that did a comparison on the road between the two of them, the Chick-fil-A versus the other one? Did you see the guy that did that?
I didn't see it. How did it turn out?
He liked Popeyes, but he said that Chick-fil-A. I think he said Chick-fil-A was way cheaper.
I think it has to do with what branch you go to too, because when I tried, I was on a road trip and it was in the middle of nowhere, off the freeway, and I had a chicken sandwich there. And I bet you, if you went to like a 5-star Popeyes or 4.5-star Popeyes somewhere, and you had that sandwich, I bet it would be better than the one I had.
You're probably right. It's best just to eat at home.
Yeah.
I usually order chicken sandwiches from like more like better restaurants and stuff. Because I don't have a kitchen, so I order Uber Eats and stuff. And when I have gotten chicken sandwiches, like there's this place called Dave's Hot Chicken, and they have good chicken sandwiches.
I've heard they always have a huge line outside the restaurant.
Oh wow! Where are you located at?
Just outside about 10 miles from downtown, right at the edge of the valley, San Fernando Valley.
Atwater Village.
Oh, Wow. Okay. I didn't know you guys were out there. Oh wow. All right.
But it's such a huge city, man. It's like there's like cities within cities all over LA.
Yeah. You gotta. Have you thought about moving?
Yeah.
Yep, I'm looking at. I'd like to go to Idaho, somewhere north, but I'm just really keen on Idaho.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause that. I'm trying to think of his name. There's a couple of guys that are conservatives that are on the web, and they're just like, man, we're done with this. We're done with dealing with these homeless people and this. Like one of them was saying that he knew the difference between human feces and dog feces, and he said, and when it got to that point, he's like, I'm done.
Yeah,
You know, 'cause he was like
I mean,
tired of it.
San Francisco is
Going down the side.
terrible. Yeah, there's a map that shows where people, the residents in Frisco can report the sightings of waste and feces. And someone took a screenshot.
Yeah.
There were so many reports of feces in Frisco that the entire map of the city was just covered in little emojis of poop. It was just all over. Like it's out of control and it's spreading fast. Even like here in Trevor's neighborhood, it's just the homeless population's expanding. There's burnt down shopping carts and glass and trash just everywhere. It just looks like a Mad Max episode.
Yeah. It's not good. That's why I was asking if you were thinking about moving, because this guy, he's moving. I'm trying to think of his name. He's a white boy, and he's got a show, and he's like, man, I'm done with this. I'm going to Texas. So he's going to go down to Texas and then run his show, and then he's got a buddy that has his own show too, and then he was like, I'm going to Texas too. It's like I'm done with this.
What is your opinion? What about Missouri? Like, what are the pros and cons, and how would you?
Pros and cons.
Yeah, what are the pros and cons of moving to Missouri? Like, what's the strength? Because you guys did have the Ferguson riots, and I'm not a fan of that. But are there any saving graces to Missouri and living there for a conservative Christian?
There's a lot. There are a lot of conservatives in southern Missouri. Like if you go down to southern Missouri, all you see, like during 2016, you go down to southern Missouri because my family lives down there. That's the Lake of the Ozarks, and all you would see is Trump signs. But up here in Kansas City and probably St. Louis, you're going to see non-Trump signs. And you know, they're the two biggest cities in Missouri, but for the most part, it's actually pretty conservative. I mean, except for those two cities. And Ferguson is a freaking nightmare, and it's actually, most of the people that are there are from Illinois. They're not even from Missouri.
That's like
but
LA. Bunch of out of
right on the
towners.
border.
We're getting another call.
Go ahead. You still there?
Oh, okay. I'll let you get to your other call, man. I don't want to take up any more of your
Oh, I
time.
thought you hung up.
Do you post this whole show?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
can I watch it later?
Yes, sir.
You can.
There's a 20. This will be the 21st episode. So this is 20. If you go back, we had Joel on the show. He was here last Friday.
Oh, that's awesome! Really?
Yeah. So hopefully we can get maybe Hank or some more people. But that was a great episode with Joel. And then Victoria's been on the show. Black Victoria. She black. And some other guests too. Kelly. We had a guest, Kelly, on the show. She white.
She's Mexican.
Yeah. I'm starting to do some rap. I've never done rap in my life, but all of a sudden I started doing rap, and I don't know. I think I'm up to like 20 videos or something.
What?
That's cool.
What's the channel so people can check it out?
It's on. Let me see here. It would be on. I'm actually moving because YouTube's giving me stuff, but I was on YouTube as Marty White Van.
Marty
All
White.
one word, Marty White Van. And I used to call Jesse all the time, but YouTube's, I don't know what they're doing because they won't let me participate in the chat. And I used to be able to participate in the chat. My buddy's like, I think your software is out of date. And I'm like, well, that might be. I don't know, but But yeah, if you go to YouTube and type in Marty White Band, you'll see all my stuff. I do cover songs. I've done a couple of cover songs, but mostly rap, and it's really not that good. I mean, I suck. But the songs are really short. I mean, they're like a minute long because I don't want to waste anybody's time. You know what I mean?
Is it Marty White Man or White Van, like a driving, like a vehicle?
Marty White Van, like a vehicle.
Okay, Marty White Van. You
Yeah,
heard people. Marty White Van on YouTube.
I used to be pretty popular in the chat because I was always on the chat in the mornings, and I was always just being kind of smart with my comments and making people laugh. And then all of a sudden, I couldn't participate in the chat. I type what I was going to type, and I'd see it on the screen, but it wasn't showing up. And so I don't know what's going on with that, but maybe I just need a new computer. But anyway.
Huh.
Nice. Well, thanks for
But I'm
calling
not
in,
as good
Marty.
as you. Not even close.
If you're on Instagram, find us at the Bros and Cons with an N, BROSNCONS TV, Bros and Cons TV. You can find us there and send us any links or anything you want us to cover. But yeah, stay in touch.
Pros and cons.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
Bros and Cons TV.
Oh, with the letter N in the middle?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. The letter N.
Not the N word, but the letter
Okay.
N.
Yeah, because you know, when I talked to Tyson, he said you can use anything I have. I don't care. I'm like, yeah, I'm the same way. I don't care either. You know, because I'm also an artist. I do paintings and things like that, and everything I have is public. And I'm like, steal it if you want. I don't care. I'm not in it for the money. You know.
Yeah, but money's good.
I don't get the money.
I'll take some money. I love money.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. You never know, because if someone uses it and then they start making a bunch of money off your stuff, then you'll care.
Yeah, maybe. I might. I got a buddy that does, what do you call it? He does like 3D rendering, and he'll do stupid stuff like a pencil. He'll like turn a pencil into a 3D rendering, and he makes money off of that. And I'm like, what the?
Nice. All right, Marty. Well, I think we got another caller on the line. Stay with you.
Okay,
We might
yeah,
be
I'll
back
let you
tomorrow.
go, man. I took up too much of your
All
time
right,
anyway.
no, you're good, man. Don't even worry about it.
I'll give it back to you one of these days, as Jimi Hendrix says.
All right, brother. Well, be well, and then we'll catch you on the next stream.
Okay, I'll talk to you later, man.
Bye.
Bye.
Peace.
T Warrior 1, if you are free, my friend, the line is now open. I saw T trying to call in. It's on you, T. It's on you.
Where's Lin Yan Chin?
Lin Yin Chen. I'm not sorry, I did not see him in the chat. I had a question about Kelly. Oh, yeah, I didn't answer the question. So, Kelly, when we were talking about children,
Is Kelly here?
yeah,
What's up, Kelly?
about when I said that, the way I see it, there we go.
caller. From
T Warrior 1, what's going on?
Well, you see, what the problem is I was sitting in the cell and realized I did not have enough of the pudding. And the kids in the neighborhood don't understand how to eat pudding pop, you see?
Who's he sound like?
I did that
Bill
for Matt, man. What's up,
And
fellas?
then the man ran from the tree into the forest, which he is presumed to be living.
What's up, Bill? Mr. Cosby.
Hey, Bill Cosby, man, this dude, he was a doctor of child psychology and had one of the most famous TV shows. The only thing he's going to remember for it is Pudding Pops and Rape.
Pudding Pops and what? And rape?
and Rape. That's messed up, man.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Like we talked about it before. I think they set Cosby up.
I do too.
They set him up, man.
Yeah,
they
they
set
set
my
him
boy up.
I think there was a seed of truth in it, and they ran with it, just like everything else. I think that he was probably at a party, probably had Quaaludes, but the girls wanted it.
Right. It was just it was a mutual. They used to party and get high and
Yeah,
bang.
like he was probably the supplier. Like he was the guy that was like he had some on him. The girl was like, "Let me get some of that," and flirty and all that. He gave it to her. She probably hooked up with him, and then now 20 years later, she'd be like, "Oh, he raped me and drugged me."
It's crazy.
Like I've seen it happen at parties, man. I've seen these girls. I've seen them want drugs. I've seen all of it.
They put him away with no evidence at all, just testimony that's like 30 years like old. So I don't understand how that works. Like how can you go to jail if you can't conclusively prove it? How the hell is he in jail for that right now?
Yeah, it's messed up, right? And you think about this, like all these women that call themselves feminists, right?
Yep.
Okay, so whenever something like that supposedly happens, they get out here and holler and scream, and they make it seem like all these women are just these innocent little Mabel from the little country town who doesn't know anything, and she just got abused, and But then you look at TV, why those feminists not over there fighting when they got Shaquan and them clapping them cheeks on the rap videos? You know what I mean? I mean, to have it, every Instagram page is twerking.
And people don't think like, how did they end up at these parties? Like, you don't just end up at a party for no reason. It's because you're trying to be in the industry, or it takes a certain kind of person like to be at these celebrity parties.
Yeah, these are the girls that Trump talked about.
And all the girls that are at these parties are a certain kind of girl. Like I've been to these parties and I've seen them. There's like, the people don't want. I don't know about back in Cosby's days, but people only want to get certain kind of girls there because they're the kind of girls that are down.
They're loose women.
Yeah, like I remember people being like, "Oh, who are we gonna invite?" and how people would talk about it. So it's like, to be at these parties, I don't know. I'm not gonna make any assumptions, but it's like 2 + 2 = 4.
Yeah, a good chaste Christian woman is not gonna be at a party with a bunch of guys who do quaaludes and do drugs. It's all these women are. I mean, they're whores basically.
See, and back in the day, Bill Cosby was very famous, man, even in the 70s.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he was a famous comedian. He had all these movies coming out. He was popping. He was doing movies with Gene Wilder and all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so he was very famous. And so he got all that attention. And all that popping quaaludes and all that stuff, that was common back then in the 70s, Club, what was Studio 54 and all that crap?
Oh, yeah.
So, all that stuff was normal back then. So, even that chick, what's her name, man? She looks like a marionette puppet, Janet Dickinson.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, yeah. Oh, she just got abused by Bill Cosby.
Yeah, she's so
probably
full of
abused
it.
him.
Yeah, she's such a hateful. That's exactly what happens to women who don't let go of the ego. They just become this former shell of themselves, full of plastic surgery, with a tiny little dog, just drinking their life away. Just nuts.
Jada Pinkett.
Even with Mike Tyson, when Robin Givens said that he beat her down.
Yeah.
Like, dude, Robin Givens probably weighed 115 pounds. Mike Tyson was folding up big grown men, 230-pound men. He was folding them up, and you telling me he hit this little old featherweight girl and didn't leave no bruises.
Exactly. It's all a lie.
Man.
It's great, like, and people. I mean, you started digging into it, like, before, when that case started. I'm still into the conspiracy theories, even though they're not theories. But people who don't know, Bill Cosby was trying to buy one of the major networks for many years. He's been trying to buy it, and they always
NBC.
Yeah, they would always shut him down. There was a push from these Hollywood elite that they didn't want a black man owning a network because that could change the game. And he's not just any black man. You look up Cosby and the way he talked to the black community. He was like Jesse. He would call out even though he had some dirty jokes himself, he would call out a lot of that degenerate behavior and how they were being terrible examples.
I got dirty jokes.
And then his son was murdered, not robbed, nothing, but on the side of the freeway, someone came up and assassinated his son, and they never found the killer. It's just all these weird things.
Right.
You know what's crazy is that the people that came after Bill Cosby were the black people.
Yeah.
So they might say, "Oh, it's the white people trying to hold the black man down." No, it was the black folks, man. Because Bill Cosby was going to these colleges and doing these speeches, and he was telling these black people, "Hey, get up off the couch, go get a job, take responsibility for your own actions." And they didn't like that. How could he say that about us black people? Like, we done been through so many hard times, and we walk through the rivers, and we tread the fields, and all that garbage. you know, Bill was speaking the truth, like you said, Jesse does, and they came after that man. They came and shut that man down.
Exactly.
You know, and he wanted to buy NBC because if you remember, it became a certain point, and even now, where a lot of the reality television was just like Ray J's Booty Grab and Snoop Dogg's Weed House and everything. What is the show with all the rich black ladies?
The Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Yeah, all these rich black ladies. That shows you how racist America is. That these rich black ladies can have a TV show, not doing nothing but shopping and screaming at each other.
Exactly.
You know.
Oppressed.
Yeah, but all those shows that cast black people in a negative light, Bill Cosby wanted to put on positive black programming. Because even if you look at BET is garbage, man.
Oh yeah,
It's
straight up garbage.
It was always funny because like the BET Awards and stuff, it would always be ghetto, kind of like it didn't seem like professional, and it started to feel like it was intentionally like that.
Yeah,
like,
ratchet.
That's what they wanted to do, because you'd watch like MTV or something, and it would be all like pro, and like it didn't have this vibe, this ghetto vibe. And I'm not saying the people, I'm saying the quality of production of it.
Yeah.
Like it would be this thing, and it's like, why?
Yeah, like you got Deshaun on the camera, like smoking the blunt, like, all right, pull in tighter, we gotta zoom in. It's just like
but like you, I think you and Black Toria was talking about the idea of being black and keeping the black standard, so to speak, or acting black and trying to keep up with that to the black folks. You know, when I'm around the black people, I got to make sure I'm black, whatever. Well, that whole thing is perpetuated by these stars. You know, if you ever hear them talk, they be, yeah, I'm a real black man. They'll be doing the worst crap ever, you know. Yeah, I'm late here because I'm black, y'all. You know, that ain't cool, bruh. You ain't cool because you lousy. You know, you got 15 gold teeth in your mouth, and you know, you probably can't have a third. You probably have a third grade reading level, and you think that's cool.
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
for
got
sure.
locked up 15 times, cuz.
I'm sure you've noticed too. Most people have, is that even within the black community, there's feuds against who's black enough, like light skin and dark skin, or they're not even black, or those kind of things, you know. But like that's the only race I know that does that. Like I've never heard of Asians being like, you're not Asian enough, your eyes are more open. Like,
yeah. Yeah. we don't like you partial slants around here.
Hey, look at Round Eye over there.
Yeah, you round eye.
Oh, you're not Asian. You don't know karate.
Yeah.
You don't know karate.
You don't like rice. You don't like
It's
rice.
true, man. Like that slave mentality. That slave mentality still exists. My dad was telling me when he was growing up that his brothers and sisters treated him differently because he was light skinned. So he would get mistreated because his brothers and sisters thought that he got treated better because he was light skinned. So the mom would be extra hard on him just to prove to the other kid that he wasn't getting shown any favoritism.
That's funny. That's
like that just.
I read Malcolm X's. There was like the reinvention of Malcolm X or something, and it talked about his childhood, and he had the same experience when he talked about his dad was super black and his mom was light skinned, and his mom would treat him better, but the dad would overdo it and treat him worse because he felt like, well, you already got it easy enough, light skin, so he didn't want to give him any easier time, so he'd make it harder and be tougher on him.
It's crazy, man, because in my house, growing up, my mom don't even look black. Like, you saw my mom walking on the street, you probably think she was like from Panama or something, right? Till she started talking, then you know she black. But man, my youngest brother, he's bright skinned. I'm kind of dark. My brother, next to the oldest brother, and my oldest brother, they look like Flavor Flav's cousins or something. You know, just dark. And but we didn't go through that in the house. Like we wasn't walking, well, you brighter than me. I guess you get an extra piece of toast. Like I don't know what that meant, man. It's just silly. But that comes from slavery. You know, that's that slave mentality.
But there's I noticed too, like white people, right? When I moved to Orange County, everybody was this tan surfer, golden skin, and I was here white, super white, and I'd get demonized. You know, people would be like, "Get a tan, you're so white," or like whatever, and it used to bug me. So I felt like this discrimination within white people. I wasn't able to get tan, and then I got over it. But I don't know. Maybe all cultures or people do some sort of thing like that. Maybe there is something in the Mexican and Asian and other communities that I just don't know about.
Yeah, it might be, man. It's all stupid.
But I feel like
But I don't know.
people with kind of reddish hair, because I'm not a full blown redhead, but like my beard gets super red, so when you see that, you think that I'm just a full on redhead. But I think that like people like that are like their own. Like it's almost like its own thing. Like redheads are like probably the biggest minority in the world.
Redhead lives matter,
Yeah,
man.
you see like maybe like one every couple of weeks.
You see one every couple of weeks.
AT, what was that story?
Hey.
You had a story you were saying earlier about a dude got out of prison, they threw a barbecue, and...
Okay, so Peter, dude, I gotta tell you that I said I was kind of stretching the true story parts, but the thing what I'm saying is that's a common idea in the hood. Like if you look in the hood, if somebody gets out of jail, they get out of lockup, and black people celebrate that stuff. You know, Cousin Craig coming out of lockup, y'all, we gonna show him a good time. We gonna get some liquor, get the girls, have some barbecue. But then you let Darnell graduate college, and he comes to the hood. Now he's good. Oh, you think you better than us, dog? You think you better? Man, give me your wallet, fool. They'll shoot him his first week back.
Yep.
That stuff really happens. It's like the stuff that's sorry, that's what black people gravitate towards. And that's those that are filled with that hate and that resentment. And I mean, they don't even like each other, man. It ain't even just white people. They don't like nobody. They
Now
just hateful people.
that's the point I was making about the light skin, dark skin thing. Is it's within, because that part of me is like, well, is it because they just don't like white people that much that if you have lighter black skin that you're closer to being a white person, so you're casting out, or you know? Because I do agree, it's like it has to do with the hatred. If you hate one, you hate all, and you should just have love, and that's it. Love is the absence of hate.
Definitely, man. Yeah. I asked the guy at work. I busted a Jesse on one of my workmates. I said, "Hey, bro, let me talk to you." He said, "What?" I said, "Hey, you love white people?" He said, you know, sometimes. I said, "Do you love white people?" He was like, "Well, what do you mean?" He was like, "What do you mean?" I said, "Do you love white people?" And he was like, well, I can't say I love all of them. I said, "Well, you don't love nobody then, bro."
It's such a crazy concept that people don't, like, it's so obvious now when you wake up, like, you know, like, you can love someone and not agree with the way they live their lives. Like, they're not mutually exclusive. You know, it's like, it's weird for people to say that. They're like, how can I love, even I had to, like, realize, like, with, like, all this, you know, these powerful pedophiles, like, Epstein's in the world, and I used to think, like, no, I hate those guys, but you know what? I can't hate them, and I have to have love for them, but I will never accept what they did as wrong. It doesn't mean that I'll let it go, or I won't stop it if it's in my power, but I can't hate them for it because someone made them that way too.
Exactly, man. Imagine, that's what I was telling this guy. I said, "Look, bro," I said, "just because someone does something that we deem terrible, that doesn't mean we have the right to hate that person." I said, "So let me ask you a question. If you looked over there and the cop was roughing a guy up, we don't know what he did. The cop is over there roughing him up. And I go over there and I just bash the cop's head in. I said, would I be wrong for that?" And he was like, "Yeah, you'd be wrong. That would be murder." I said, "Well, Moses committed murder and God used him mightily."
Yep.
So, you know, you can't judge somebody. Imagine if God did that to us. Like every single thing we did, he just held that against us forever. We'd be finished, man.
Exactly.
So having that understanding, that heart of forgiveness, that heart of love, that allows us to go out and help other people wake up and open their eyes, you know?
Yeah.
You can handle conflict better. Like I used to have like this wrong notion too, like, oh, a Christian is a pushover and the whole turn the other cheek. It's like, no, a Christian isn't weak by any means. They're immovable. Like the world doesn't touch them, and a good Christian would be the kind of guy that would defend himself, and if you came to punch him, he'd knock you on your butt, but he'd pick you right up again and say, are we finished? You know, can we go get some dinner? Can we go get a beer? You know, that's a good Christian. You know, like you're not going to be weak. You're not gonna hate him for it. You're not gonna make the fight go any more than it has to.
You're not gonna hold on to a resentment about things. Like when the moment's done, the moment's done.
It's over. You know, you bury it.
You never notice in movies, so when they portray Christians, is always these categories: the weak pushover Christian, or the maniac Christian that thinks the world's ending and he's real evil and overbearing and everything and God's gonna get you and all this. And then the real slick Christian. That's always the representation of Christians in movies, right? But if they ever show somebody from like Islam or Hinduism or anything else like that, they show them real solemn and real just respectable, and they really care about their religion, and they're so in touch with the spiritual side.
Right.
You know? And a lot of people watch those movies and they think that we're like that. And so, here comes another Bible thumper. You know, dude, I ain't the one, bro. Don't think I'm that dude that's walking around. Oh, and God just loves us all, and we're all friends, and we're just gonna get in a little rowboat and clap, and we're gonna have a good time. Don't think that, bro. You'll get a rib crack quick. I'll ask God to forgive me after I'm done.
Exactly. Like that shows you how powerful the media is, and people don't realize how much we've been brainwashed. I have to admit it. I was a huge movie fan, and I still love movies, but they're powerful, and they change your perception. It's not I don't believe that culture drives movie content or for media. It's media that can change your entire culture.
You know what's crazy? I just realized is that movies and thoughts should be handled the same exact way. Like, you watch a movie and you observe it and you become aware of what's happening, but you don't get sucked into the movie where the movie starts to shift and make you feel certain ways. Just like thoughts, you know?
Like that movie, it was a TV series by Alex Haley. It was called Root, back in the 70s. And my mom told me, it was either the 60s or 70s, right? My mom told me that when that movie came out, or when that show came out, that black folks just started attacking white people. Just out of the blue.
Yep.
After they watched that show, slavery, dog, I'm gonna go beat somebody down. Like, how can you be that brainless?
Yeah, that's true. Like, everyone gets influenced by stuff. Like, that's why, you know, these movies are dangerous. Like, you look at, you know, Inglourious Bastards and 12 Years a Slave and Django, and like, it's all pushing the same thing. And just like how you talked about how they always portray like the wise Muslim, and like every black person in the movie is either going to be a clown, you know, some kind of comic relief, or they're the wise mama, you know, this old soul that just has all the wisdom.
What movie was that? That we just The Matrix. Remember she was
the
like,
Oracle. She's a black wise woman. You know. And
cooking some collard greens and pig feet.
Yeah, and like every white guy's either some honky redneck or a super beta. Like, it's just like, it's the same pattern of depiction, and it's powerful. It does influence how people look at the reality. It's like Trevor said, movies are thoughts, and people hold on to them, don't realize that they're holding on to this fake reality.
Yeah, it's true, man. Hey, so it was a guy. He was coming out with a movie called Gray State, I believe, The Gray State, and it was about like the corruption in the government to the highest level, right? And he was producing this movie. It was a movie, but it was like real hardcore, like stuff that's going on in the government that we really don't know about, or we really don't understand. And this guy ended up getting killed. Yeah, I think him and his whole family ended up getting killed.
Wow.
And the movie never came out. I was wondering if y'all heard anything about that.
I heard about Gray State. It's like, you know, like a police state, but I don't think I've watched it.
Yeah, that's some crazy stuff,
What's
man.
it called?
Yeah. Huh?
What's the movie called?
The Gray State. I believe that's what it's called. I mean, don't quote me on that, but I believe it's called The Gray State.
Huh. I think I've heard of that.
Yeah, I've definitely heard about it. T, what do you think about, I was having a discussion with a girl from Bonn, one of our friends, and she's big on, you know, the possible end times and things, and, you know, what is your take when people come to you and say, T, the world's ending, America is Babylon, and we got to get the hell out of here. How do you handle that?
Okay. I'm going to tell you how I handle it, because that guy I was telling you I was talking to earlier, man, he's just like that, dude. He comes to me, oh, brother, look, I just got a new revelation from God about the end. I said, dude, why are you worried about the end? And you don't even know if you're going to have a tomorrow. Like, just worry about what you're doing today. Just live today. Okay, all that worried about, Oh man, see, if you look at it, it says the sixth seal is going to crack and then this is going to happen. And you don't even know. They said the world was going to end year 2000. I'm pretty sure they said the world was going to end 1999. Oh, I'm pretty sure they thought the world was going to end during the Great Depression. I'm pretty sure when the bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, they thought the world was ending. I mean, so we don't know. The Bible even says the Son of Man doesn't know the time which the Father has put in his own hands. So why are we walking around worried about the end when we're living now? Like, we don't know the end. I mean, we have no idea. God can say, you know what? I'm going to end the earth in 10,000 years. So what does it matter to us?
Yeah.
Right.
All we have to be concerned with is, are we living right before the eyes of God? And when he returns, will we be ready for him? That's
Right.
it. Walking around all the time, opening up revelations and pointing out stuff, you're going to drive yourself insane, man.
Yeah, it's not a, like, the way I try to look at it, and when I share my side of how I view it, I tell her and anyone, is that I do want what's right, and to me, I think what's right would be, I would love to live in the country, I'd love to have a simple life, I'd love to grow my own food, but I'm not going to do that just because I think it's ending. I'm just going to go do it because I feel like it's right, and I feel like I have peace, and if it ends, great, so whatever, but I don't want to leave the city just because I think, brimstone's going to start raining down. I want to leave because I don't like it, and I don't think it's good for my soul.
Yeah. It's crazy how some Christians will say, God will supply all my needs according to his riches and glory. He is my protector and my provider. But then when something goes down, they freaking out worse than everybody else. Oh, Lord, we need to hunker down in the bomb shelter, and we need to get food together. And then what if you did that? What if you piled up a whole year's worth of food and water, and then you get down there and the scorpion stings you and you die? What are you... You know, I don't know. I don't have that type of mentality, man. I don't panic. I don't get freaked out by stuff. That just ain't how God made me, man.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I know. I do feel like LA is super fallen and places like that, and like Trevor agrees on some things, but I don't want to. My motivation's never going to be that it's because I think it's ending or I'm panicking, because you make mistakes when you panic, and that's what Jesse always warns about. It's like, don't force it. Just wait. Like, if you know what's right, then you just, when you have the opportunity, you take it, and it'll work out. Like, I have no fear. If it does happen, and these cities just start, being destroyed, and God makes it rain fire, well, even that's not going to scare me. I'm just going to hope, hey, maybe it doesn't touch me, And if it does, well, oh well, maybe I deserved it.
Yeah, maybe I deserve it. You were sitting there wondering, what is it going to hit me or not? Did I do right or wrong?
Yeah.
Okay, it looks like it's 100 yards away. All right, it missed me. Thank you, Lord.
Exactly. Or maybe he's just trying to do you a favor. He's like, man, you married the wrong one. And then, boom, take me to heaven, Jesus.
Turn her into a pillar of salt like Lot's wife. Huh?
Exactly, like Lot's wife. Like,
What are your thoughts about how people call countries, like some places are third world countries?
Yeah.
Do you think countries can be third world, or do you think it's the people in the countries?
Well, the people are the country. I mean, if you really put it down, I don't mean. But
Yeah.
what are you asking me? Do I think that's a good term to use or what?
I don't know. I never really thought of it like that. You think of a country and you think of a place, but you don't really think of it as like, it's like they kind of paint it as though people can't help themselves. Like, help the people get out of that by moving to America or whatever it is. But wherever you go, there you are, right? So there's got to be a reason why America is so great, and why it's free, and because people think that America is just an idea, like, oh, if you had the same blueprint, it would work anywhere. But that's what makes me think about it, because if you have third world people mentality and who think communism and socialism is a good thing, they're never going to be able to build a country that's great, because it has to do with the mentality. No. But I don't know.
Yep, and you know what I can't stand, man, is like if I hear somebody from another country complaining about America. Because to me, if you don't like this country, you take your butt back to Uzbekistan or wherever you came from, dude. Like,
I know people like that for sure, and I've known people too, musicians too. Like, I've heard that, like, You know, like say they do a gig, and they do something with somebody who's an illegal immigrant. They want to help. Like they're like, they deserve to be here, you know. But they're not thinking it through. Like if you deserve to be here, you would be here because you took the steps legally to be here. Like if one guy can do it, one woman can do it. If somebody can do it the right way and work hard to do it, then they deserve it. You know, you don't just deserve something out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I
right,
agree.
man. I'm glad I was born in America, bro. I wouldn't want to live nowhere else, man.
I can't imagine not being grateful that I'm here. You know, that I could be anywhere. There's 7 billion people. I could have been born anywhere. I could be anyone, and I get to be me. You know, like I want to be grateful to be me, and be grateful that I'm an American. Like it's amazing.
I saw a tweet where this guy said, if there was a button that white people could push to make sure that slavery never happened, to take it all back, they would push it in the blink of an eye. But if there was a same button that black people can push and take slavery back, which would mean that pretty much all of them would stay in Africa, they would not push that button.
I ain't pushing that damn button. Hey,
Yeah, it's like,
and you know the most brutal slave owners were the Choctaw Indians in Oklahoma. They were very brutal to the slaves, man. It was so bad that after slavery ended, they actually had to send the army in there to make them release their slaves. And they told them, you release them, or you make them a part of your tribe, or we're basically going to just come in here and wreak havoc. You know, so they had to make the slaves that they released a part of their tribe. So it's a lot of black people that their lineage is actually Choctaw Indian. They're considered Choctaw Indian.
wow. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I always bring up the story when people talk about these peace-loving, pot-smoking Indians. Most of that was a lie. They don't realize how violent and evil some of these tribes were. Like the Aztecs were cannibals and would mutilate and burn people alive. In the Caribbean, where Columbus and them landed, there was the Caribs and the Arawaks. And the Caribs, if I can get my story right, they were the cannibals who would prey on the Arawaks. So when the Spanish came, they were happy to have some help, and they got treated better. So that's how they beat everybody. They didn't just come in here with a few guns and take over the country. It's because people, said, you know what, I'm with you. I'd rather fight with you strangers than these cannibals who just keep eating us and killing us. So that's how we took this country.
Yeah. But it was good talking to you, brothers. I love y'all, man. I'm gonna get off this line.
Hey, I appreciate you, bro. It's always nice to talk to you, man. You make me laugh.
Thank you, T. Thank you, Mr. Cosby.
All right. Anytime, fellas, make sure you get yourself some of the pudding and put it into the bowl and tell Theo and Rudy to come and get some with you.
The chili. I need some of that chili.
All right, fellas.
Bye, T.
All right, peace.
Man, he's does such a good Cosby impression. Yeah, don't love the world. Like everyone's been talking in chat about, I don't know if you know the story of Lot, this Bible character. He got Sodom and Gomorrah, the city of all the homosexuals, and I guess
That's where you're from?
Yeah. So from what I remember, the story was angels came down to his city, to his house, and they stayed as guests in his home. And that night, the locals heard of these visitors, and I don't think they knew they were angels. But it was such a crazy city that these guys were banging, trying to get in the house because they wanted to rape the men with the angels. So that's how bad the homosexuality was and the evil in the city. So God gave him a warning, and he left the city. And on the way out, he told him, "Don't look back. Just keep walking and leave," because he was about to burn it. Lot's wife turns back and misses it. She loved the city, she missed it, and in that moment, she was, I think, turned to salt, or basically turned to stone. And then the city, that's where the fire and brimstone came down, and Lot took his kids and they left.
Interesting. Well, what's the question about that?
They're just talking about how you don't love the world, and if it is ending, no matter what happens, if you're going to get yours, it's because you love the world and not God. And you'll miss the signs to leave. You'll miss the way to live, to survive. You'll miss all the opportunity that would help you and save your butt. So first things first, just don't love the world, and he'll make a way for you to see, you know what, I have a chance to go to a different state or a different part of the country, I'm going to go.
Yeah, I have this sense to get out of LA because it's going downhill. People are asleep here. They're like zombies, and they're so in their egos about it. They try to act like, they care so much about people. and I can see through it because what they care about is how they're perceived and what they look like. You know, they want to have this clean image on the outside of free and all these things, but it's just a lie. And I couldn't see it before. You know, when people would criticize LA before, I would stick up for it, and I would, because I was just like that. Maybe not on the level of some people, but there was still that element there of me just wanting to make it in my career and wanting to network, and I always had in the back of my mind that like some selfish way of being able to, you know, level up in my life somehow. And I feel so much. I was watching an old video. You know how Facebook shows you like, oh, 10 years ago, here's a video. I saw this video today actually of me rehearsing with some band members, and I was singing, and I just noticed how tense I was. Like I was singing, and I was just so into it, but I wasn't really relaxed and just cool. You know, I'm like, and I didn't remember ever feeling that way. But looking back and watching that video, I was like, why am I so tense? You know, like, cause now, like, if I was singing with a band, I'd be cool, be chilling, you know, just singing the song. But I was like tense and singing, and I was trying to sound really good, and I'm just like, man, that was a good reminder to be like, whoa, like, I remember that, and I remember not knowing that I was like that. It's weird.
Yeah, it's definitely since waking up, it just feels like I can raise my voice, but there's this nice sense of just like you're relaxed. I'm comfortable in any situation. You can talk to any stranger. If anything, like, and I see a lot, like Trevor's really good about coming up with jokes on the fly if we're out and he'll compliment a girl, and he does it like that without thinking, and you see how uncomfortable they are to talk to a stranger. Like, it's weird how...
It's because I'm ugly.
Yeah, most people just don't have that peace inside of them, so they're always in their head, and they don't hear what he said or what anybody says. It's just weird. So yeah, waking up is nice. I wouldn't trade it for anything. And at first you may think it feels lonely because, you know, like he says, it feels like the whole city's asleep. Even the ones who seem like they're woke, they're dead asleep. But I wouldn't trade it for anything. It's the best thing in the world. But yeah, I have a feeling to get out of LA.
It's crazy because two people could do the exact same thing, right? But there's a different intention for each person, and I think that intention is what really matters. Like, because a lot of these actors and LA people, they will do something that's like a profit to raise money for something, but their whole reason why they're doing it deep down is because of the way it looks and what they're going to get out of it. And it's not really from the heart. And not all, I'm sure there are people that do, but 9 times out of 10 in Hollywood, it's all to be perceived a certain way and to make people look up to you somehow so that you can control other people. And it's that spirit, it's not even them. Because after a while, after so long, people stay here for a long time, they end up losing sight of themselves completely, and they're just dead inside, and they really believe that they want to do right and all these things, but it's so backwards, it's flipped around. Because they've no longer become aware of themselves and their intentions and focusing on that little light that's like, oh, like, why are you doing this, you know? Like, because two people can know how to do something, but why is the most important thing. Why is what's going to bring you, you know, like, because why asks a question, you know? Why, how is telling you, and why is like, why am I here? Why are human beings human beings? Why are animals different than humans? You know, and it's just this endless question, and the more you ask, like, why do I do this? Why am I singing all tense 10 years ago, you know? And if you keep asking why, then you'll...
Yeah, why do certain words bother me? Why do people's opinions make me feel weird? Why do I resent people when they share theirs? If I don't agree with it, why does it affect me? Mm-hmm. Just because I disagree or I don't like their viewpoint, why do I feel something about it?
Yeah, because if you ask how do words hurt me? Or, you know, or usually you just say something hurtful. That's how. Like, it's just not as deep as why.
The why is, like Jesse always encourages, it gets you to a place of understanding who you are and observing. Why is definitely tied to observing.
And the more I understand who I am, the more I know who I'm not. And that I am really nothing, you know? I'm just in a body having an experience and watching the world. That's it.
So if there's any last callers for the night, the number, what's that number again?
818-308-5559.
Let's see what the chat says. What I missed. Hey, thanks for all the callers so far. T, Marty from Kansas City.
And thanks for the super chats, my friends.
Kansas City, here I come. Catherine, welcome.
Georgia, Georgia, the whole day through. Just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. Georgia, Georgia, a song of you comes as sweet and clear as moonlight through the pines.
Oh, super chat from Catherine. That's
Oh,
a
Catherine,
song.
I appreciate it.
She needs a jingle.
Catherine's super chats reach out to me. They make me smile tenderly. Still in peaceful dreams I see the road leads back to you. Those chats though. Yeah, any last callers?
There's someone from
And
Australia who wants to call in.
We'll call in.
Just
Alright,
happy.
mate. Call in, mate. Crocky.
Australian folk. Yeah, just happy. Call in.
No.
I think you just need to type in the. I think our country code is +1, so I think if you just dial that, it should go to us. But I don't know. Google it just to be sure. But I know you need country code, then the number. But call in, Mr. Australia. Play some cricket. Yeah, corn pop in a motorhome with 8 children and his wife. Good Lord. Have mercy on his soul. Just happy's a woman. We'll call in, mate. Shayla. Give us a call, Shayla. I don't know. I know that they say that that's like a use for all girls.
Crikey, I got my finger stuck in me bum. Got my finger stuck in me bum. That's English, right?
Shayla. Let me see how you make a call. USA country code.
Here he is, being everyone's mama. If they wanted to call in, they'd figure a way. They'd figure a way.
Okay, step 1 says dial the international access code, which is 0000, and then dial the country code, which is 1 for the USA. And then, yeah, so it's just 001-818-308-5559. That should work. Yes, 001. Or +1. So you can do +1 or 001-818. The number. Well, we got 28 people hanging out here.
Man, that's pretty sweet.
What's up, everybody?
This song is for you.
Call from
Corn Pop.
Corn Pop.
Corn Pop.
Corn Pop intercepted.
Corn Pop will keep us here for another hour.
Yeah, Corn Pop intercepted the Sheila. What's up, Pop?
Yeah.
There he is.
What's up, Pop?
Well, I can hang it up. I mean, did someone just call in?
No, we're trying to
I
see.
missed somebody?
She hasn't figured it out yet, so I'll let you know when I see her number call.
Okay, well, I can kind of hear it coming in. So
No,
if she is,
there's nothing there yet.
then I can hear it on my end.
Oh,
I
gotcha.
can
Yeah,
turn
yeah.
it off and then let her go on, so y'all don't have to hear my mess.
No, it's all good.
No, what's good with you, Corn
Yeah.
Pop?
What's up, guys?
Nothing much.
How have you been today?
Amazing.
Yeah, all is well. Only thing is my sleep schedule. I think as long as I just don't think about it, it doesn't really bother me. Because, I mean, what's the difference between what time it is? But I just want to flip it around, turn it around.
True. Well, I told my mom the other day, I put it in the chat, they didn't vote for Trump. They voted for Hillary, my aunt and my uncle. And I was telling my mother, I said, if it does pop off the Civil War, I'm hanging, my aunt and uncle. So, and the cousins too. So I just let Mom know that her liberal sister and uncles would get hung in the course of the Civil War. Now, that's probably not going to happen. But I told her it'd be a white Mississippi wind chime.
A white Mississippi what?
Wind chime.
What
That's
is
a
that?
term they use down there. Like, the KKK and stuff.
Ah.
But they're white. Get it? You know what I mean? They're, you don't get,
Isn't
okay.
the KKK white?
A white Mississippi wind chime, it wouldn't be black. It's a racial term. It's a racial thing.
It's a racial thing.
Even though racism doesn't exist, it's an evil thing.
Gotcha.
But I told Mama, I stood up to Mama, I said, no, Mama, Bobby's going to hang Aunt, Bill and, Aunt Dee, because they don't think right. They're for China. Like Bobby Boucher said, I'm kind of joking, but you know what I mean. I did tell her that. I was joking with my mom, and I was like, yeah, I would, I'd hang your sister, which is my aunt, Patrice, if they went with China. It was kind of funny. She's like, you leave them alone.
You leave him alone.
Leave them alone.
now.
Like I was going to go and string them up and hang them, man. Come on.
Like, come on, mommy. You know it ain't the weekend yet.
Yeah, but come on, Mom. I wouldn't hang somebody. It's funny. I figured you guys might enjoy that. In the chat, I enjoy it. It says, you have to have a good sense of humor, man.
What happened?
Especially in these days. No worries, have fun.
What happened, Pop?
I said, no worries, have fun.
Exactly. Always have fun.
Like Captain. Like you're roping a calf. You know what I mean? Then you cinch it up, and you tie him up, bam, you got him. And you give him a shot. I had a buddy I used to work, he's still a little cowboy and got a cowboy hat too. Takes a real man like Desi says to wear a hat, a cowboy hat. If I see a liberal wearing a cowboy hat and he can't have that, he can't wear it. No, sir. They're not allowed to. Yeah. Now,
I want to dress up like a cowboy one day.
Have their hats. Oh, go ahead. I interrupted you.
No, I was just saying, I want to one day be like a fly cowboy for a day.
That would be amazing.
And ride horses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, horseback riding, man.
I went to a horseback riding camp when I was a kid.
Time where you can actually ride a horse and go fast and, Gallop.
I learned when I was a kid to ride English.
Oh,
What's that?
there you go.
It's different, two different styles. You got
Touche.
English and Western. It's like, you know, the
Well,
ones
maybe
with the
you can
English
teach-
stuff, and then it's like,
Oh,
yeah,
man,
like
that's
that.
pretty good.
So would you use your feet? Like,
So is it really harder to ride English compared to the saddle because you have a horn, right? So, yeah, I see it being harder.
what's the, wait, so I don't understand, what's the difference between English?
I didn't learn Western, so I don't really know the real difference.
They don't have a
but-
saddle horn like his saddle doesn't have one that thing you can hold on to with your left hand or your right hand, like riding. It kind of helps you stay on the saddle a little better.
But you really, but really, I would stay on using my legs. You know, you grip the horse.
You still have the
With your
reins,
feet,
right?
right?
Yeah, you have the reins. I
Your leg.
use the reins, and you grip, and then you learn how to like find the rhythm of the. You know, it's called posting, where you would like kind of hump the air, and you would. So then you wouldn't just be like getting a headache bouncing on the horse.
Interesting.
It was just a summer, but my sister was really into horseback riding, so I went with her once. It was fun.
There's this thing I saw on Facebook. There's this little kind of retreat thing for like 4 weeks. You can go horseback riding with it's like a tour you can sign up for. This company that does what the hell you call it? When you're taking all the cattle on grazing, yeah, you can kind of help herd the cattle across like a, I don't know, like a 5 or a whole week long trip, 2-week trip. And you just do it like the cowboys used to do. You camp out at night, you eat out there.
Cattle drive.
Yeah, cattle drive.
wagon thing.
So I want to do something like that. I would love to learn how to ride horses fast. I've been on them, but you know, I don't own them. Never really got to let it rip.
You got trotting, cantering, and galloping.
Yeah, galloping looks fun.
Yeah, I galloped a few times, and I went over some jumps.
Nice.
Beast mode.
Man, I did not know you were such an equestrian.
I know, right?
What'd you call me?
Yeah.